Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Game Informer Show. I am your host, Ben Hanson, joined as always by the trusty Tim Turi.
Hey, you can trust me. I'm Tim Turi.
And then we got spiky-haired Brian Shea next to him.
Hello, everyone.
If you look at the YouTube version of the show, you can see Brian and how hard this guy tries with his hair.
It looks good, though.
Hey,
Am I supposed to say something
Hey,
now?
Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking good today.
Thanks, man.
You do. Better than yesterday. Kyle Hilliard is also here, everybody.
Is my hair okay? I didn't do anything to it at all.
I don't like the color of your shirt
I know,
mixed
that's,
in with the color of
This
your
is a
hair.
I don't
constant point of argument between Ben and I is me wearing the color teal. He hates it.
How many hoodies do you have?
Just this one.
You know, I don't have many hoodies either, and I actually just recently lost my gray hoodie, so I'm down to pretty much a blue hoodie. Kyle, you and I are bros.
Just don't dye your
How did
hair
you lose
red
a
and I
hoodie?
won't have a problem with it.
What's that?
How did you lose a hoodie?
It's perfect hoodie. Like a couple weeks ago, it was like perfect hoodie weather losing season.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
No, that makes total sense.
It's
I don't
just
know,
like
because you
it's-
take it off when you come inside and you put it down somewhere because it's it's cool enough outside.
Yes.
But
You could have either left the house with a hoodie or not that day,
exactly.
and it's
And you
just-
don't remember by the time you
it
leave?
dematerialized.
Okay.
Yeah, it dissolved into nothingness, and I think it floated into the sewers.
Fantastic. Well, we've got a hell of a show today for you guys.
We're gonna
lot
look
of
for my
hoodie
hoodie. So
We're
see you
going
later,
on the
guys.
road.
Solving the mystery.
Goodbye.
No, we're covering hot Wii U release. Two of them, actually.
Oh my gosh.
We got Yoshi's Woolly World.
What's the other one?
Oh, wait, no, maybe not. Yeah. I was thinking, for some reason, Dragon Quest Heroes. I think I was into Zelda.
That's PlayStation 4.
Muso mode. But yeah, Dragon Quest Heroes, Yoshi's Woolly World. Minecraft now has a story, but Brian's going to tell us the full saga of. And then with Tim, we're going to talk about some other nonsense.
Yeah.
A certain Friday the 13th game that he
man.
won't stop talking about.
Well, actually, I don't know. Oh, I've been talking about it for years, basically.
correct. Yeah, you've been living it out slowly
Right.
through every fantasy you've ever had at night.
Some fantasies realized.
Oh, what? Okay.
Hey, Kyle,
Hey.
let's start out talking
You
about
know where
this.
your wife is?
I don't. Yeah, let's talk
She's
about
not-
Yoshi now.
She's not dead.
Yoshi's Woolly World.
Is my wife okay? She's all right? Oh God. So
No, let's talk about fun, happy stuff.
Okay.
Colorful, charming things.
That's a good way to describe Yoshi's Woolly World. Woolly World. It's
a tough one.
Fun, happy, colorful stuff.
Can we just call it Yarn Yoshi like the code name was? It's easier
Yoshi's
to say.
Epic Yarn 2.
Yeah,
just to make
sure.
it extra confusing.
Okay, so new Yoshi game. Let's just cut right to the chase. This is a good one, right?
I like this one a lot. I love Yoshi's Island. Like probably one of my top 10 favorite Super Mario World 2.
Oh, Super Mario World 2. Oh.
Super Mario 2 : Space Yoshi's
Yeah.
Island is one of my favorites of all time. I did not care. I have not cared for any follow-up sequel. I didn't like Yoshi's Story on 64. Yoshi's DS. I disliked.
Touch and Go.
Yep, Touch and Go was terrible.
There's more go than touch.
Yeah,
It
Yoshi's
was Touch and Go.
New Island. I put down pretty much immediately because I did not like the controls, but I really enjoyed Woolly World a lot.
You didn't like the controls in New Island because, okay, so I played Yoshi's Island. I'm with
You're
you.
a fan
Yoshi's
too,
Island.
right?
I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan of the original.
Yeah.
Yoshi's Island DS. I played for like 15 minutes, and that art style was just
Wait,
an abomination.
DS or
Yes.
New Island?
Nope, DS.
Yes, okay. We're the
And then
different
New
babies,
Island,
yeah.
I didn't get into because I knew Woolly World was on the horizon. I was looking forward to it. And then the reviews were kind of middling for New Island. But when I was playing Woolly World, then I went back and looked at gameplay footage of New Island just to see, like, am I missing out here? And it actually looked better than I thought it would. Like, what's wrong with that one?
For me, it was like just from what I remember, I played like the first two worlds right before I put it down. The egg throwing just felt off.
It was toggle and not hold, right?
Yeah, and
Wasn't it? And you couldn't choose like you could in Woolly World.
Yeah, and also it was slow. And I
Yeah.
think when you put Woolly World on mellow mode, which is the mode that makes the game like super easy, it kind of slows down the egg throwing to what I believe is the same speed as New Island, and it just felt
Interesting.
way off. And I didn't like. I never get the rhythm of it.
Speaking of like that nitty gritty like egg throwing mechanic stuff, I watched during like was it Summer Games Done Quick?
Yeah.
They had they entered with a speed run of Yoshi's Island, and he could just whip eggs. You could absolutely whip them. And for people that he's constantly whipping his unborn children.
Well, they're yarn balls now. we should
Yes, of
clarify.
course.
Yeah.
So less violent.
But so basically that's what like fans have been from the beginning kind of built their skill base off of. And then you have something like New Island, which just takes a step back. And it's like really slow, really plodding. And it seems super smart that the new one, Woolly World, kind of caters to both audiences depending on where you're at. And you can hold down to bring up his trajectory, let it go to throw, or toggle it.
I couldn't find that toggle. Actually, that was going to be one of my complaints. Is it because I love having it to like, hold it down and release to throw? Where is that toggle?
Oh, the options.
Yeah, it should be. When you
Is it
choose.
really?
Yeah, but also another weird sort of thing is there's two types of control, like A and B, and A is the standard one, but B is the one that's like more like classic Yoshi's Island, where the Y button is lick and B is jump. So you want to switch over to B pretty much right away.
Why lick? Always. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
What's weird about the New Island to Yoshi's Woolly World connection was I feel like they do this with every Yoshi game, but specifically with this. When New Island was in production, they're like, Nintendo made a big deal about like, hey, everybody, we've got Tezuka, the director of Yoshi's Island and Super Mario Brothers 3 and A Link to the Past, this great Nintendo legend. He's coming in. He's working on New Island, everybody. And everyone's like, oh, man, there's hope yet for this new Yoshi game. Then it came out, and it's like, 7.
Yeah.
And then, like, a month later, Nintendo's like, hey, everybody, Yoshi's Woolly World's coming out. Guess who we got? We got Tezuka Consulting. And the exact same, like, enthusiasm. I was like, oh, man, this one's going to be good. It's like people just will not learn the lesson. But turns out this one paid off. So
I like this one a lot more. It just, the levels feel like they have a better structure. I feel like a lot of past between Mario World 2 and this one, I feel like the Yoshi's, like the levels have been really kind of just without direction, especially DS, where you had to switch between babies. There was like a lot of backtracking.
Because it had like Baby Peach and Baby DK.
Which I think that's like an adorable concept, but like it just...
Babies in general?
Yeah, I'm a fan of babies, just in general. And but like you had to like you would go into a level and be like, well, I can't do that thing because I need this baby, and that was always frustrating. But Woolly World feels more
the classic phrase, I need that baby.
Oh, where's that baby
I need? Monkey baby. But Woolly World, which is really hard to say, feels more straightforward in terms of like level design, which I like. And like, I don't know, it's a faster pace. It's a little hard. I hesitate to say even that. I mean, it's not. I never really got super frustrated or anything, but there was a certain level of challenge, which, to kind of compare it to another past game, was something I really didn't like about Epic Yarn, Kirby's Epic Yarn.
I'm with you. Yeah, I absolutely love the art style in that game, but beyond that, I don't think there was really anything
Epic
too
Yarn
memorable.
was totally style over substance. Like,
absolutely.
The moment-to-moment gameplay was just so innocuous and sort of like, Like, I didn't feel one thing or another. It was just a means to see more of those visuals. I'm so happy that you get a similar visual style. Down to, like, there's, like, a little hazy fuzz aura around Yoshi, like, 'cause he's a crocheted Yoshi or whatever. And just the fact that they nailed that, like, the little bit of fuzz around him is just awesome.
So if you didn't know, it is the same developers. Like Good Feel, is that their name?
Good Feel, yeah.
Okay,
same guys.
As the Kirby game.
And it's throughout the whole game, there's all these, like, referencing, like, the fuzz around Yoshi. Like, there's all these little touches, just the way the levels are built. It all really feels like it was, like, sewn together. And there's even, like, new stuff in the backgrounds and sort of little details as you get towards the end of the game. That's really cool.
I felt like I'm like halfway through World 2, so I'm not that deep into Yoshi, but I feel like the yarn aesthetic kind of drifted into the background and I kind of forgot about it quicker than I did with Kirby. Where I feel like throughout Kirby, it was always a gimmick of like yank on this thing, unraveling this thing. And I know you're still unraveling stuff with your tongue and whatnot in Yoshi, but I guess I thought about it less after like the first couple levels.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, there's more little things, like maybe, I don't know if you've seen the Shy Guys carrying the crochet hooks and stuff like that.
No, that
and
sounds devastating.
And you can throw yarn balls at them and they'll catch them on the end of their yarn hooks and stuff like that. Like little touches like that kind of permeate throughout the whole game.
Okay.
So.
Like I just got to kind of some chain chomp sections of the Bow Wow, and it's weird that like there's like the skeleton version of the Bow Wow, and then you have to like throw the thread at them to like thread them up before they go.
Probably a dry Bow Wow. Is that what you'd call it?
Yeah, I call it dry Bow Wow.
Dry Bow Wow. One thing I wanted to note was like I've been playing a lot of this game co-op, and it's like at the base, it's like a really good co-op game if you can communicate well, and it's got that classic thing where it's like if you go too far ahead, especially like on auto-scrolling levels, it's going to be tough. But my core frustration with the game, and this is not a make or break, I think it's a really, really cool game, is that the tethering between the two characters is like way too strict. Like you might jump up as one Yoshi and the screen pans upwards like an inch, and as long as that other Yoshi is like just an inch off screen, they immediately turn into an egg and are like in bubble mode, and I think you can actually end up like losing some hearts that way and stuff. And it's just really frustrating for that there's no like zoom out at all or anything. That
it seems like co-op was kind of I don't want to say shoehorned, but it doesn't exactly feel built for co-op. I'm playing through it single player, and I can't imagine that it'd really be that much more entertaining with two people.
It's fun to like, hey, I'm going to use you as a yarn ball and throw you up there, and now you can go get that when we don't have any yarn balls or something. There are cool moments for it, but I think it'd be really fun in single player too.
I actually, like I said so much in my review, I actually prefer it as a single player game. Like the couple of things I didn't like about the game were all just these extra sort of things. Like I didn't really like the co-op, but it's totally optional. It's like an extra thing. I much preferred playing the game by myself. The amiibo functionality of adding like if you have a Yoshi amiibo, you can play as two Yoshis at once. I immediately turned that off because it was the most confusing thing where like you press jump and like both jump at the same time, but they can get separated, but you're still controlling.
So it's like the
them.
cherry in 3D World?
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was just because it was like on a 2D plane. It just was like, it just became incredibly confusing. So I didn't really like that. But again, totally optional. You don't have to do any of that stuff.
Speaking of the amiibo support, I scanned in my Bowser amiibo. Bowser Yoshi looks real good.
Yeah, I actually really like
Yoshi.
like I don't like playing with the second Yoshi, but being like unlocking the costumes I like.
Oh, like the cow one? You can get a cow colored one. There's really that's your reward. It's like you get all the yarn spools, and it's we talk about the little touches. It's like going into a craft store and seeing the little like bundles of yarn with like, and you get all the colors for the costume that you unlock. And then suddenly I'm a cow Yoshi. It's awesome.
It's really hit and miss. Some of those costumes look great, and then some are just hideous, where it's like Mario's, where it's like they put the hideous mustache on there, or like the Shy Guy face on the nose of Yoshi.
I like the Shy Guy one.
Some of them I hate to look at. It disgusts me. More than your stupid shirt, Kyle.
Oh, thank you. I think.
Is it made of yarn?
I don't know, but I like. No, it's not.
Here, if we pull on that drawstring, will it just unravel and we'll find a secret layer of gems?
And then it'll just be like the yarn skeleton version of Kyle screaming.
Collection of dry bow wows.
That's right. I am just a pile of dry bow wows.
You're like Oogie Boogie from, or Boogie Woogie,
exactly.
whatever his name is.
I know what you're talking about.
The
Nightmare
Bugle
Before
Boy?
Christmas.
Yeah.
But you like those costumes.
I do. Well, I was gonna say I like that some of them are hideous. Like I like that there's both like the ones that are like, oh, that's really cool. I like that. I like the way it looks. But then there's also the opportunity to unlock ones that are just like absolutely disgusting looking.
Right.
Which I like. I like that they're they're throwing everything.
I want to know what happens when you scan on like Marth. Well, how does Marth come through? Or like,
I'm sure it'll look great.
Yeah, or like the Wii Fit trainer. Is it just like her face on his nose? It's terrifying nightmare. Because all the amiibos are supported different in costumes.
Some of them, like I think the Pokemon ones, just give you like a white T-shirt or something.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but
with like the Pokemon on it.
That's so
it
lame.
just
Why
says
couldn't
amiibo.
you have like Pikachu's coloring across?
That seems like the easiest one to do too. Just
Right.
like, but not. It's the majority of them. It's only like 5 or 6 that do that.
By white T-shirt, you mean just like the amiibo shirt, which is basically the equivalent of taking Sonic and Knuckles and locking on anything that's not a Sonic game and just getting the bonus round or whatever, where it's like, we don't know what to do here.
Yeah. Wonder where Shovel Knight will work, or if that's just going to be a white T-shirt.
I imagine that'd be a white T-shirt because he's not available yet.
I gotta get that white T-shirt.
It's super quick aside. Did you hear about the Jimmy Neutron character?
That was a joke.
Was that a joke?
Yeah, that was a
because
joke.
I looked at that and like I'm so happy.
I had the same exact reaction.
But explain what's going on here.
It was just like a
There's a
B-list.
fake Nintendo account on Twitter.
That's
Yeah.
really
tweeted
well.
out.
They use the same logo as Nintendo,
And
so it looks. It's a good looking.
And
It's a
they've-
good parody.
A
account.
bunch of them have tried to like follow me and stuff, and so I'll see them and like, okay, I look at your headline or your name for this Twitter account, and like it's a little off. This one enough traction that I was looking at it, and I don't know if I was tired or what, but I'm like, the Photoshop was real good, and I'm like, this is so stupid.
It was in Smash Brothers. We should clarify.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Carl from Jimmy Neutron was
Yeah.
the next DLC character for Smash Bros. And it was just a picture of like Mario and Fox like fighting Carl.
Everyone's been duped by that fake Twitter account.
that one specifically, that specific tweet. So I'm happy that I didn't
God.
tweet and fall for it that way, and that we just did. talk about it on the
Sakurai's
podcast.
just like, well, that's who they voted for. You know, might as well.
Never saw this coming,
Can
guys.
I bring up one final thing about Yoshi?
Oh, we're gonna talk about it for another hour.
Good.
Yeah.
This is like this is a weird specific complaint I have, not
Love it.
about Woolly World actually, but about New Island that I don't know if I'll ever have another platform to.
Did you
complain
accidentally
about it.
review New Island instead of
Oh my
Yoshi's
god!
Woolly World?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my god!
But so okay, I played Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island when it came out, and
You can just call it Yoshi.
No,
Okay.
I like that
I
he
just want
says
to make
Mario
I just
World
want to
2.
make I want to make it clear.
People forget.
And for what the last, it's 20 years old now. The game up until the release of Yoshi's New Island,
Wow, it really
we
is.
saw Mario and Luigi's parents' feet,
Right.
and that was canon. That we have
Great feet, though.
great feet, awesome
Strong feet up there with Nanny
living
from Muppet Babies.
they were living in a mushroom house, and for years it was like, okay, that's the only glimpse we'll ever get of Mario's parents,
Right.
of his feet, and
in
it's
New,
like
in New Island? Or no, in the
in
original. Okay, gotcha.
Like spoiler alert, that's how the game ends. You get dropped off, and so that was like it's a weird thing, but I accept that as like, okay, that's our glimpse of Mario's parents.
You accepted that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I had to come to terms with that these were my heroes.
How long did that
parents. Well, I just went right when I beat the game, I guess, for the first time. But the thing about Yoshi's New Island that immediately soured me on the game outside of the controls and everything is that they wipe that away and they say that Mario and Luigi were dropped at the wrong house and that those weren't his parents.
Are you kidding me? They retconned the end of Yoshi's Island?
Yes.
The wrong house? Why would they do that?
That's what Yoshi's New Island is about, getting like picked up and taken somewhere new. Because they got taken to the wrong house.
It picks up exactly where Yoshi's Island left off, and it's like, whoops, my bad. And then they pick them up from that house, and those, what were they, actual cannibals that are about to eat those children, and they saved them from that?
I think the parents just didn't want them or something. I don't remember if they go into that. But that frustrates me.
Maybe, well, hang on. Maybe this is the better lore, is that Mario's parents
this, Hanson.
didn't want them. They tried to give them away.
So you're saying
then
those were the parents?
The stork returned them, and then the stork didn't have the heart to explain to baby Mario and Luigi that the parents don't want them. So it told them, like, this is the wrong house. Haha, our mistake. Let's go back to that dinosaur island where you'll be safer.
I'll work with that. That might make me feel a little better.
Holy crap.
What'd you give the game?
I gave Yoshi's Woolly World an 8.5.
What a good score.
It's a good game.
It's got a good feel to it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I liked it because that's the developer's name.
Itchy, kind of itchy, but fun.
Yeah. It's a little bit tasty.
Doesn't breathe that well.
Brian Shea.
Yes.
We talked a lot about the Minecraft story mode on this podcast back in the Matt Helgeson era. I think when it was announced, we went around and talked about whether or not this was a good idea, and there's a lot of confusion about people rating whether or not it was a good idea or a bad idea. Tim, were you on that one?
I think I remember talking about it. I remember writing something about, like, it was a joke article where it's like, hey, here are some other, properties that are really big and for a Telltale treatment, like
Fart.
Tetris, fart noise. But like at the end of the day, like I've seen like how successful those like Minecraft novels are and stuff like, geared towards kids. Like in the end, I think it's a very smart business.
It is a very, very smart
Yes.
business decision. How is it as a creative decision? Is my question now.
It's pretty good. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be anything spectacular, but then they got a really good cast. They have Patton Oswalt if you choose the male version of Jesse, who's the protagonist. You can also choose a female version, who is Catherine Tabor.
Who's that?
she?
She is a voice actress who...
we assumed as much.
Wouldn't have guessed.
I looked her up yesterday.
Is she a taper?
No. But
she's not like a known comedian like Patton Oswalt.
No, she's not a known comedian, but she is an established voice actress.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And then, they have Brian Posehn, who was in the Sarah Silverman program.
Sure. Good friends with Patton Oswalt. They work together a lot.
Yeah.
It's cool to see them playing off of each other in a game.
And then
Yeah.
isn't Paul Rubens in this?
Paul Rubens plays one of the one of the bad guys, and he plays
that
a guy
sounds
named
good.
Ivor.
Is he full on Pee-wee?
No, I didn't even recognize him until I was like, oh, that's the character that they said Pee Wee plays.
Just a wee bit Pee-wee?
He can do more than Pee-wee.
I'm
Tim.
slowly getting-
He's a good actor.
Like he actually kind of sounds menacing in this.
I'm
Like,
getting very sold slowly on this.
He's
Please
like the
keep
sketchy
going.
guy who like sets everything in motion, and like
Okay.
you're like, yeah, that guy kind of has something off about him.
He's
So-
kind of Pee-wee Hermione.
When we were originally talking about this game, I think the way we all phrased it is like, well, this is a good opportunity for Telltale to kind of get out of their, I'll call it a rut. It's a groove, it's a rut. They have
Formula,
their formula.
established formula.
Very, very established. And it's like,
Predictable almost.
well, if they're going to branch out of it, this is a good opportunity because it's a weird format to try and put a story into or a weird game to license off of.
Yep.
Do they do that?
Well, they break out of one rut, which is they were just full on bleakness, like with Walking Dead, then Game of Thrones, and Wolf Among Us. Like it was just all these bleak games, and like it's
Borderlands is kind of fun.
Yeah, Borderlands, I guess, is a different change of pace, but it's kind of returning to like that kind of like lighthearted storytelling. Like nothing too serious goes down. Like there's an evil monster on the loose killing everyone, but other than that, like it's
right.
It's pretty lighthearted. Like there's a lot of jokes throughout, and like it is a Telltale game through and through. Like there is no denying, like if you picked up this game not knowing that Telltale made this and you're like, oh, it's a Minecraft game, like within like the first 5 minutes you'd be like, okay, Telltale obviously either influenced this or developed it directly. There's the decision tree stuff, like the things come up and you have like the little timer ticking down, like, oh, you have to choose B or C or B or A or X.
It'd be cool if it made a creeper sound, like the hissing sound as the timer went down.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And I mean, then there's some fights, but that it's a little bit more hands-on this time, where like you get to choose, like you have your sword out, and like you see like a creeper or a zombie or a spider walking towards you, and like you choose like how fast you want to approach it. And,
How
like,
fast?
Like you push up and it moves your character closer to them, and like you have to kind of like get the distance before like they hit you. You have to swing your sword.
sounds
Is that
dumb.
important with creepers since they blow up? Or
Well, in the encounter they do blow up at the end. and,
Okay.
Spoiler alert: they send you off the bridge.
Oh my god. Question: How do Minecraft's mechanics play into this game, like crafting and building?
There's not a whole lot of building outside of like what happens in the story. Like you press A really, really fast, and it shows them like building something rapidly. Like it happens a couple times. Same thing with like collecting resources. You'll like tap A, and you'll like kind of like stop motion, like see them like picking up a whole bunch of
like
things.
the Lego movie.
I have not seen the Lego movie.
Like a Lego game.
Sure.
Yes.
Building in that. Yeah.
But then there is a crafting component where, like, in certain parts of the story, I think in the first episode, there are 3 parts in the first episode where you actually come across a crafting table and you have to lay out things like resources that you've gathered, and like it's actually the Minecraft recipe. So like,
that's
cool.
great.
That's cool.
For a stone sword, it's like, all right, you put a wood block here and then like 2 stones, and it forms a stone sword.
That's pretty cool.
All right, that
Or
sounds pretty
stick,
solid.
Not a wood block, a stick. But yeah, and then you craft other things throughout the story to kind of like get you and your friends out of some jams.
Do you have options on what you can craft, or is it like, hey, make a sword here, dummy?
In the first one, it's like, hey, make a sword here, and
Dummy.
then other one, dummy. They're a little bit nicer. It's an all ages game. And then later on, like it's like, hey, we have these 3 things that you have resources to make. Choose what you think would be the best thing to get you out of this jam.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another thing where you absolutely have to make this one thing to progress.
There is a good distinction there. All ages. Like
It
how is the writing team and like the formula and stuff like hold up without? I mean, all the other games we talked about are pretty.
They're fairly mature.
Pretty. I don't know, rude or
Crude.
gross. You're rude, crude, and gross.
Blue.
Yeah, some blue humor. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny. It holds up for somebody such as myself who has a mind of a child but the body of an adult.
Uh-huh.
But
Hair of a model.
Is that beard glued on? Is that? Oh, no, it's not.
no, it's not.
Sorry.
We had a weird Santa Claus moment there.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, I laughed several times just like that. I laughed several times. This has gone off the rails. Yeah, it was enjoyable.
What was the funniest thing that happened? Lay up the situation here.
Jeez. There's a training montage in the beginning, or it's like with like kind of like an 80s style music playing in the background. You're like doing push-ups with your pet pig on
It's
your back.
about time somebody really parodies the 80s. Because it's been sitting unscathed for so long.
If we know something, it's that little kids love 80s throwbacks.
They're nostalgic for 80s parodies.
But I want to know, I'm really curious to see how this does, and like whether or not the next time I run into like my nieces or nephews or anything, like if they're like talking about story mode at all, if it breaks through even a little bit, because like that's just the thing is I feel like the reason that kids play Minecraft is so detached from like something like this, but then again, those books do well and stuff. I don't know. It's
I think just think about, I don't know how many kids are going into Steam and searching, but just the idea that Minecraft is not in Steam, and now if you go on Steam and search Minecraft, this will be the top result.
Sure.
Like, I mean, it has to gain traction just on that alone.
But what
right?
matters is that it surfaces in the App Store. Like talking about like the younger,
Oh, I didn't even think about
like
the
Minecraft
iOS.
generation. As long as it's up there, that's it.
It's always amazing. Like I always look at the top charts on iOS because I'm fascinated by those, and just how consistently Minecraft Pocket Edition is up there. It's always in the top 3, just perpetually. And so if it could get some runoff love from that, it could be gigantic. Actually, I'm really curious about that. I could see the iOS version doing better than any other iOS version that Telltale's ever done.
I would absolutely agree with that, and especially if like there's some update to the Minecraft like Pocket Edition that points people towards this at all. Just like, hey, as heads up, there's this cool story.
There has
mode.
to be, right?
I would assume, but who knows? I mean, that's all Microsoft's decision, and like maybe they don't want to like cross pollinate. Who knows? I'm really curious though, because that would make a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're already kind of doing that by releasing Minecraft on other platforms, like continuing to do that and continuing to support that. So, I mean, they've shown that they're not going to make it like a full-on exclusive thing where they're going to be like, okay, we're not going to deal with that Apple.
Yeah,
Maybe they want to see how the reception is.
Yeah.
They got to be real careful with that brand, though.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
weird.
Like, they don't want to put too many ads in Minecraft. you know?
So the first episode, is it the classic first episode cliffhanger? Let me guess, at the end something crazy happens. And
It
you're
does.
hooked?
I mean,
The creeper is just I don't know.
So
Will
the whole
Will?
story is like, all right, well, you're in this building competition, and you're going to this thing called EnderCon, which is just a big like nerd convention, and you
within the world of Minecraft?
yes.
Okay.
And there's like this legendary warrior that you want to meet who vanquished, like, who's part of this Order of the Stone, which is what the name of the first episode is. And he and this group of people vanquished this dragon and saved the world. And
Well, as long as it's vanquished.
yeah, well, then Paul Rubin's character Ivor comes and like creates this monster, and like you're like, oh, I'll handle it, don't worry. And then it grows in like out of control, and it starts like destroying the world pretty much. So you kind of are cast into this role of like, all right, you guys are the new heroes. You have to like figure out how these heroes in the past like vanquish this dragon, and like you kind of have to do that yourself. So
Patton Oswalt seemed pretty comfortable.
Yeah, he was great. He has a great voice for like cartoony characters.
Ratatouille, right? Is
Yeah,
that,
that's right.
I haven't seen that, but
Really? Oh God.
Yeah,
You
like
go see
food?
Lego Movie. You go see Ratatouille.
okay.
And Kyle and I will continue our perfect lives.
That's right. I've seen each of those movies multiple times.
But I liked it. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of kind of setup, and you're kind of like waiting for something good to happen, like in the story. But like while you're waiting, like the writing is clever, the voice acting is really good. Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie in The Last of Us, is one of the main characters.
More importantly, Gretchen on Recess.
Yes,
That's-
and Gretchen on Recess.
The waitress in the Avengers.
All right, but hang on. This is the ultimate test. You're not reviewing Minecraft. This just came out. You just played the first episode. Would you think you'd be pot committed and you want to play all 5?
I think I would at least check out the second episode. I mean, it set things in an interesting path, an interesting direction. I think that I would definitely check it out. Not sure if I would buy the season pass just yet, because I've been burned by that in the past with Telltale.
So?
Like I've bought like The Walking Dead season 2, and then I'll get through like halfway of episode 2, and I'll be like, I'm kind of over this.
Like you just fall out of love with it.
Yeah, and then same thing with Game of Thrones. I kind of got like to episode 3, and I just dropped off.
Question: would this be a good thing to just like mentioned like nieces and nephews? I'm sure lots of people listening like have kids or relatives that are into this. Would this be a fun thing to sit down with like some kids who love Minecraft and just work through it for a couple hours and like jointly make decisions and stuff?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, and obviously Telltale thinks this is a good game to like kind of get in front of as many people, because it's the first game that they're releasing at retail almost like simultaneous with the digital launch.
That's true.
So,
and they did that huge Let's Play thing, which was like joint decisions.
Yeah, I guess I was talking with some folks at Telltale, and they did that for the latest episode of Tales from the Borderlands. I think like in Austin, they had a giant theater kind of participating in that, and they were just in love with that idea of doing it in front of a crowd.
That's
I guess
cool.
like, imagine being on the development team in that room. Like you're never going to have a more satisfying moment.
It's like watching people play Mario Maker levels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, so I understand now they had that gigantic live stream of the first episode, which is kind of fun. Although I guess people can just kind of tune into that, right?
Well,
Instead of playing the game.
your decisions they
Yeah,
carry
that's
through.
right. Yeah, it's
there weren't that many like really big decision points in this episode, so I'm hoping they kind of ratchet that up a little bit.
It's strange that they launched this, and I know this is always the complaint about Telltale, like, oh, too many irons in the fire, but it's weird they would launch this so close to wrapping up Game of Thrones and Borderlands.
Yeah,
But just let those finish off before you start the new season.
Holiday season, dude.
you want to have that overlap.
I think they wanted
so.
Minecraft out for the holiday season, especially if it's a retail thing. Like,
Yeah, so is it retail like when the 5th episode goes live? Or how
No,
exactly?
October 27th, the disc appears in the store. It's like a season pass disc, and you put it in your Xbox, and it actually unlocks a season pass on your account. So as the new episodes come out, they activate on the disc.
So it's not that they're done with all of them at this point. Okay.
No.
Okay, of course not.
So yeah, but you have the first episode on your disc. So in the past, Telltale's released the disc like after all the episodes are out, and you just have like a disc with all the episodes. But now it's like it downloads an update once you have that.
Yeah.
weird.
I'm excited to, in a similar front, I know we've talked about Life is Strange 6,000 times on this podcast, but that finale is coming up this month, and I'm really excited to just put a nail in that coffin, just see where that weird train ends, because it has been a wild ride.
Is that an episodic adventure game that will have started and concluded all in one year?
Great question.
Did it start this year?
I think it did.
Because
yeah.
like that's always been the tricky thing with Game of the Year conversations is just kind of, well, this is not done. So
Right. Yeah,
but
I'm pretty sure it did start this year.
interesting.
Yeah.
I need to pick that up.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Tim,
Yeah,
you want to talk about Friday the 13th?
I absolutely do. Before we launch into Friday the 13th, can I
Yeah.
follow up on one thing from last week?
Absolutely.
It's been bugging me
Yeah.
because since last week, Undertale has grown on me so much just in my thoughts and like just my perception
Not physically
of it.
on you?
Like I think I had finished the game that morning, and I don't think I had fully given myself time to like let things sink in. I'm like, God, I wasn't talking about how funny that game is enough. Like Sans and Papyrus, and like especially like there's some stuff like Twitter, like social media jokes like later on, and like it's such a clever game, and especially that damn soundtrack. Like I have not really stopped listening to it since, and
It's amazing.
I'm actually excited to play through it again and try to get some of the different endings.
Oh, really? Do you think you're going to do it this year?
I think I probably will. Like, I don't know, the music's strong enough, and like there's enough branching paths and stuff that I'm interested. And so that was just sort of like a little bit of an addendum to my feelings on it last week, that they're way stronger.
It's
than,
not super
than they
long,
were.
right?
It's like 6+ hours, I'd say.
Okay, so that's doable to replay.
Depending on how you play too.
Why would you be bringing up Undertale, Tim? Is it possible that we forgot to mention something at the start of this podcast?
It's a good opportunity to say that we are interviewing the basically the core creator of Undertale, Toby Fox, after
Yes.
the email segment. So.
Yes, in theory. We haven't recorded it yet, so it could always fall through, which
Right.
we're not a big fan of. But in theory, we'll be talking to him.
But the other thing that you brought up was there is a Kickstarter now for Friday the 13th, the video game, which this is an interesting one. I don't know if we'd usually talk about like a Kickstarter this early of like, this isn't like an insane Kickstarter concept, but like the origin of it is kind of nuts. It started as I think it was called like Slasher Volume 1 Summer Camp. And the developers had already gotten it rolling, and then they kind of were blessed with the ability to like tie in the Friday the 13th franchise, make it Camp Crystal Lake, make it, Jason Voorhees, get Kane Hodder, the original Jason, to do mocap for the kills.
I saw
That
that.
seems wildly unnecessary.
Doesn't it? Does it? But at the same time,
Yeah, it does.
The way I read their campaign summary, and it sounds like they're just like, hey, like Kane Hodder has a lot of experience like manhandling stunt actors to get really good kills. Like, and if they're gonna put that layer of like polish into it, I think that's probably worth it. And also just the novelty. Like, I think it's cool that they're doing mocap in general. Other stuff I read about this. So basically, I think it's 7v1, or is it?
Well,
is
the
it a
way they
five-
pitched it in the video is they were corrected when Adam Sessler pitched it that way, and they said it's 1v7.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's 1 versus 7. It's Jason Voorhees. It's asymmetrical multiplayer versus 7 counselors, and apparently they're gonna like go for the entire spectrum of like stereotypical horror movie characters: the dork, the edgy guy, the hero lady, the spoiled princess, stuff like that. It sounds like you're gonna have your own like progression trees and stuff, both as Jason and as the counselors. Think Evolve.
So is it a multiplayer game?
It is.
Like,
Yeah.
so you play
Multiplayer only.
rounds, basically?
Yes,
Okay.
there's
Sounds
a
like it.
stretch goal for single player they talked about.
Okay.
in the
Yeah,
video
which
a
would be
little
like
bit.
scenarios, probably like reliving scenarios from the films and stuff. It
That
sounds
would be
like
cool.
Really, I think it'd be really cool as well, especially like having ones crafted as Jason, like go do these kills. But the other thing that's interesting about it is they're going to do one thing I was thinking of when I was hearing this would be like every round to end almost like think like Left 4 Dead, like wherever if the counselors won and took down Jason, like I always cut to it at the end and show that his body's gone like every single round. But they might be addressing that because apparently every match is going to end with like a mini trailer of like the highlights of it that's in the style of an 80s like Friday the 13th
Can't
movie.
wait to see myself running into a tree.
I know,
Yeah.
but you can share it. So like you can have a match and just like probably share it on Twitter or something like that, which is really ingenious. And Jason can spawn around. Another reason I'm really excited about this, and this is really weird, is like a couple years back I wrote like what we want in a Friday the 13th game, and it's pretty much what they're making here.
Uh-huh. Have you ever wanted to work on a game more than this Friday the 13th game?
I think I would just make a bad game. I would somehow ruin this thing because I have no experience developing games.
But after 8 hours of filibustering and explaining the potential of this
Yeah, I mean, you look at their Kickstarter campaign video, and it's like, oh, you got Kane Hodder and Tom Savini working on special effects, like working with the developers to help make the kills as brutal as possible, and like Adam Sessler, I've seen him, interviewing Mikami for Evil Within videos and stuff. Like Sessler clearly knows his horror. It seems like this is in good hands. The only worry I have is the same worry that you might have based on like the history of asymmetrical games, like asymmetrical multiplayer only games like Evolve.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who don't necessarily have video game development experience, what is Adam Sessler doing on
It
this game?
seems like he is maybe like a marketing promotional kind of dude.
Okay.
Just getting.
So he's just like involved, kind of like.
Yeah, I would be
Alright.
surprised if he, I don't know this for sure, but I'm assuming that he probably got involved with like the Kickstarter campaign and stuff like that, uses history of writing and stuff like that.
I think he's
game
also like a mask in the game for Jason. He can put over his hockey mask an Adam Sessler
That's smart.
skin mask.
That's right, and then he's just got his Sessler soapbox, and he just rants, and that's how you can tell as how loud the soapbox filibustering is. But the other thing is like apparently if you pledge like. If you back it for like $10,000, you are a counselor face in the game. They'll like scan you in and stuff.
We should say again. I mean, this is one of those games that I'm with you. I've never seen one of these movies at all, and I
we
feel
should
like
probably fix that.
yeah, probably should. Right,
Part 3.
part 3 is the way to go.
But we watched all of them. But 1, 2, 3.
And I was gonna say, it sounds like so much fun. A lot in the same way that like Evolve is like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be great. But there's so many things that can go wrong, and especially layering on top of it that it's a Kickstarter project when everything is so tentative.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All of this enthusiasm comes with a tremendous grain of salt. Like,
Right.
1, we don't know if it'll get funded. 2, we don't know if it'll be any good. But there's gonna be betas and stuff, so hopefully we'll be able to follow up. But it's a big deal, especially in the context of like franchise games, especially horror games, have like a terrible track record. The way they would really do this right is if they were able to just swap in, like, all right, here's the high school level, and now it's Freddy. It's Freddy Krueger, or here is a sleepy Illinois town, and it's Michael Myers. If they were able to swap in other franchises, it would be ridiculous.
Are you looking more forward to this game, or would you rather just role play as Jason, which seems to be your forte in life?
Oh, are you joking because of the thing I did when I was younger?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my friends and I would there was this building near my friend Dave's house, and we would. My buddy Dave. And there was like a perfect circle around it, and we would take turns. Like, we had like a friend who was like a big guy, and he would dress up, like, we bought him like a Leatherface mask, and he got like a butcher's apron, and he made like his own chainsaw. And you'd just walk circles around this building, and they'd hide somewhere. And then the way he'd make his exit is like, he would just make crazy loud chainsaw noises and just chase us, and it was terrifying. We were in like middle school or whatever.
Oh, it's great, yeah.
But then we had Scream Guy. We'd have like two of them. One would enter the picture like later, so you wouldn't know who they were. We just went for it, and like even the cops got involved, but they were they were into it. And it was like a race. No, this is great. This is great. Sorry, we won't spend much time on this. And it was downpouring, and the cops were there and just like, making sure like we got some calls, but it seems like you guys are having fun. This is kind of cool. And they kept like the headlights on as like extra like mood lighting, and we were able to make the cop car like safety. It was really weird and cool.
Did you grow up in a small town?
This was Lauderdale in Minnesota, but it wasn't my hometown. But the Lauderdale Police Department, really cool people.
That's
not a lot
It
of
was
calls.
really neat. Yeah.
But Tim is the best person to play night games with, because he gets more into like being the hunter type figure than you could possibly imagine. Just like not breaking characters, getting like the slow march towards you. You have been role playing this your entire life. Like, this is the thrill of your life.
It's fun.
I've noticed.
It's fun. I was like Michael Myers for Halloween for like way too many years running, and it usually devolved into me actually legitimately trying to scare people. But I'm enthusiastic about this.
Yeah.
So are you interested in playing as the counselors at all?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm more interested in that personally.
Yeah. Because that's the big challenge, is making that. And actually, it's both challenging. Like, cause like Jason Voorhees is slow. They're gonna try to help him by teleporting him around, kind of, and sort of taking in that. Like, it seemed like he was almost like omnipresent, right? And so they're finding out how to do that mechanically by having him teleport. But the challenge of making it fun to be the counselors, like, I think it's gonna be this delayed payoff thing, because you could only imagine like the sense of satisfaction that would come from like being stalked the entire game and like having to set up these things in motion and getting your revenge on Jason. It'd be a good payoff.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be the counselor, like the same way in like the most recent AVP game, which I know wasn't fantastic, but I enjoyed playing the multiplayer beta of, like, I really like being the human. Like, I like being the underpowered, scared person in that environment.
I mean, it sounds like it's like the sentiments of Amnesia and like that sort of non-combat first-person survival horror, but mixed with like Evolve. It just it seems like it makes sense on paper. Hopefully,
It's a lot of
fun.
potential.
Yeah. It sounds
They have
really...
the composer from the original too. Like,
well, this is okay. Let's dive into it again, because in that pitch video, they made such a big deal about like, hey, we got the director of the original films. He's going to be consulting. Like, do you think that those movies are well directed, or is it just a fun concept that was like right time, right place, or do you actually look at it like that director is a talented guy?
well, I mean, so not counting Psycho, I think that Halloween is like the first slasher film of all time.
Sure.
And Friday the 13th is fun. Like, they're not good movies, but it sparked a phenomenon, and like it gets credit for that. But like, if you hold up like Halloween, the first Halloween versus like any other Friday the 13th movie, like Halloween is the better film.
Sure.
Like, it's one of the most successful indie films of all time. And I think that Friday the 13th, people are self-aware. Like, I don't think people look to those or Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever as being like, oh, that's a good movie. I think everyone's kind of in on it.
So do you think this director can contribute anything helpful?
Only in terms of probably like tone, like maybe just sort of that gut reaction where like he's puts on some headphones, takes a look at the Crystal Lake that they've made, and been like, something seems off. Like, it's not foggy enough, or it's too foggy, or like, these buildings don't make any sense.
Write this man a check.
Yeah, foggy or not foggy, he's just got a checkbox. One or the other, sir. All right, here's $1 million. No, I don't know what's to be gained there because I don't have that insight. But if you're back enough, you can have access to Skype meetings on the development side, I guess. So
Do we have to do that in order to get them for an interview on the podcast? Is that how that works?
I don't know what the benefit is there, but we should try to get someone on for the podcast and see if we can talk about it more. If it's funded.
Yeah. Could be an interesting one. Hey, Kyle.
Hey,
game that came out on Tuesday.
Okay, yeah.
Dragon Quest Heroes.
Yes.
What is this? It seems like everybody wants Dragon Quest 11, and we get Dragon Quest Heroes.
Yeah, this
Enjoy,
is not
everybody.
Dragon Quest 11. This is like Dynasty Warriors. It's a Musou game with Dragon Quest characters. But I don't like Dynasty Warriors. Those games are dull. I liked Hyrule Warriors because I feel like they mixed it up a little bit. Plus, I feel like the Zelda aesthetic was fun.
Yeah, you can put a Zelda theme over Space Invaders and probably like 8.5.
But then, are they working on that? That sounds pretty cool. Okay,
8.5.
But Dragon Quest I liked a lot because it really did a good job of not focusing entirely on that sort of repetitive combat that kind of gets me down when I'm playing Dynasty Warriors games. There is a lot of RPG stuff, and they also have a mechanic where you can collect these monster coins to kind of send out those sort of the Dragon Quest, like the iconic monsters. You can like have them on your team and send them out to help you, like
Dragon
guard
Quest 5.
things and stuff like that. Well, yeah, I mean, haven't a lot of the Dragon Quest games had where you can collect monsters?
only played 5.
You got your slimes.
Yeah.
You got your cruel cumbers. Are those in there?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cruel cumbers.
Cruel cumbers.
Skeletons,
They have some
zombies
good
and
pun
stuff.
names.
But I really like. Maybe it's clear now. Like, I'm not a big Dragon Quest guy. Like, I don't really have a lot of affection for those characters. I really like the art style because, like, I like Toriyama
Because we like Dragon
because
Ball.
I like Dragon Ball Z, and I ended up really liking it a lot for that reason. Because like I wasn't just mashing the attack button the whole time. I felt like I was doing other things, and I liked the world. And then it did that thing that like a lot of games are doing now, Metal Gear and Destiny, where you actually have like a base that you have to go back to kind of recuperate between matches. And sort of that's where you level up. That's where you make things.
Is that the tree that's in the name?
No, that's like the tree is what you're trying to protect. You actually have this like flying ship called the Stone Cloud.
What is the name of this game?
Dragon Quest Heroes, the World Trees Woe, and the Blight Below is what it's called. And you know, it's funny because in the magazine we were kind of looking at it and we were like, do we have to put that whole title? We don't have that much room. And we're like, maybe we could just do Dragon Quest Heroes. But there's another
For the magazine, actually, you fold out a couple pages.
Yeah, that's right. But there's actually another Dragon Quest Heroes game. Like
what is it?
I think it's a DS game, or maybe it was the Wii like action game.
Oh, okay.
So like we couldn't just call it Dragon Quest Heroes. Like we had to make sure we included the full title of the game.
Man alive.
But it's cool. It's a good game. It is my favorite like Musou game. I played
Really?
I played a couple of Dynasty Warriors. I played Hyrule Warriors. I also played Rome, which was like Dynasty Warriors, but in like a Greek kind of setting.
Or
like,
Roman.
a Roman. Well, yeah. Oh God, that's embarrassing. We can cut that, right?
Nope.
Yeah, we got a couple edits there. And this is the one that I've enjoyed the most.
Okay.
Like I had the most fun with this one, where the other ones I kind of fell off really quickly. And got really
interesting.
bored. But I was excited to play this one.
You think I should give this thing a try?
Well, I mean, do you enjoy those like big like Battlefield action games at all?
I like Dynasty Warriors 2 a whole lot.
Then maybe you should give it a shot. Then,
Okay.
Yeah. I think I gave it an 8.
Okay.
I say I think because the review actually went up a while ago, but the game came out on Tuesday. So, yeah, it's a good game. It's my favorite Musou game for sure, even above Hyrule Warriors, and I'm a huge Zelda fan.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Brian Shea, what's your dream Musou project? Give me the next Musou license crossover thing.
Hyrule Warriors was pretty close to that.
Right. That came
Mario.
out earlier.
Mario.
So they got Attack on Titan, although that's like doesn't look like a Musou
Actually,
game.
that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool, but it doesn't look like a Musou
Well, I mean,
game
it's
at
the
all.
opposite of a Musou game. In Musou games, you're fighting like a lot of little guys, and in Attack on Titan, you have to fight like one big guy at a time.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't play as a Titan?
No.
No,
Oh.
but have you not to kind of go off on this weird tangent, but have you guys seen there's like a gameplay trailer for it?
Yeah, like the Omni, you're using like, what is it called? The Omni.
You're like flying through the air like you do in the show. Like,
It looks super
It looks
legit.
nothing like like Dynasty Warriors
No.
at all.
Interesting. I think I'm on board. How has there not been a Dragon Ball Z Musou game? Let's get a bunch of Cybermen in there. It'd be the easiest thing.
But is that the point?
Kind of.
Well, I mean, is it the point of Zelda?
I always thought Dragon Ball to me, the point is one-on-one encounters.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's 1-on-1, and then there's usually like 6 guys sitting around the side waiting for their turn to fight.
Okay.
So you can kind of incorporate them.
So you
in
can
some
see
way.
the entire season
Yeah.
at once.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's basically how it works. Brian Shea, much like Tim's addendum talking about Undertale last week, now he wanted to give it more praise. I felt like I was too down on the Battlefront beta. Last week I talked about it a little bit, and I was like, I died a lot. It sucked. But I didn't give it its fair due, and it was my bad for not playing enough of it. I went back and played some more of it since they extended the beta. I appreciate a little bit more, but I know you've been playing a hell of a lot of it, right?
Yes, I have.
What do you think of this thing?
I think it's a fun, casual shooter. It's
great.
It's not super hardcore by any means. Like, if you want that, there's plenty of other games this year.
Are there
that
systems
are a little bit more hardcore
that the beta doesn't have that might like increase the depth of it, or is pretty much everything in place that you know of?
I mean, there's more customization and progression stuff that's going to be put in place for the final game. Right now, you can only level up, I think, to 5, and then unlock like 3 new weapons. And you're also going to be able to customize the appearance of your character. But like the core mechanics, like the shooting is pretty casual. Like there's not a whole lot of recoil when you fire. The guns feel fairly similar. Like the thing I like about it is there's a hands thing, it's called, where like it's your loadout pretty much, where like you have cards that you unlock, and like so one is like, all right, you have a thermal detonator, and that's going to be like you put that in your hand, and that's like pretty much your loadout. So
is it like Yu-Gi-Oh where you put it on the thing? And
then it kind of shoots out.
Right.
You call Exodia.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Why hands? So it's like a deck of cards.
It's like a deck of cards, and you like unlock cards with like the currency that you earn as you play.
Do you earn credits?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you also can unlock weapons based on like your level, and so like there's a little bit of depth in the progression system, and I'd like to see a little bit more in the retail copy. But like for the beta, it was fine.
Sure. I'm assuming it's going to go much deeper.
Yeah, and I mean there were 3 modes that were available in the beta. There's drop zones, which was just like, hey, you're in a map with another team, and a drop pod appears randomly in a spot, and you all fight for it and capture it. And then
it's basically Control, except places move.
And
you're ready to go.
And it's nice because like it's perfect for like firefights. Like you'll be there, and then like the people will try to like encroach on your territory, and then you're like defending them off. And then there's another one, Walker Assault, which is like the big one that everybody's seen, where there's 2 AT-ATs coming at like the rebel base.
AT-ATs, yeah.
AT-ATs, I call them AT-ATs. And
all-terrain armored transports.
Exclusively referred to as all-terrain armored transports.
And but it's cool because like it's 20v20, and there's vehicles, like you can fly an X-wing or a TIE fighter or an A-wing or a TIE interceptor.
My main problem with this beta, and tell me if I'm insane, but I really just don't like the maps. They all seem so mushy, and it's like
mushy.
Where it's just like with Hoth, for example, it's like I don't know the limits. I would like to see just an overhead of this map. And I think with Battlefield, like choosing your spawn location gives you a very clear radar. Like, here's what this map looks like. With Hoth, it's like there's a hill over there.
Yeah,
there's some things over here. I don't know what this layout looks
Hoth
like in
sounds
the
like
least.
Such a difficult place. I'm not trying to give them an excuse or anything, but like, man, when you think about Hoth from the movie, all I think of is like, yeah, there's Echo Base and then flat. It was flat with like snow trenches, and that's pretty much what you got.
Right. But I guess it's just flat, except now there's a mountain in there, and it's kind of 2 entrance points.
Like I never really got that's a good point. I never really got a great feel for like, all right, I know exactly the layout of Hoth and like where I can go to. Like I knew like the trenches a little bit, and like all right, the AT-ATs are going to be over in this area, but like I never felt like I knew the whole map.
Yeah,
and the line of sight seems crazy. Like I was spawning at certain points when I played it, and like just getting blasted by an AT-AT immediately. Because it is so flat in some sections that it's just like, well, like, line of sight's just totally unrestrained.
And then the other map, it's like it's the kind of lava snow
Solist.
map. Solist, of course. Who can forget that Star Wars planet Solist? But it's just like, basically just a hilly area where there's like some paths running through.
Canyons,
but
yeah.
I don't know. And again, you're trying to make it look natural and like a real planet, I understand. But like I like Bungie maps. I like having like some symmetry. I like having some structure. I like being able to be like, oh, this is the map that's like this. And it's like, this is the map that's like just a bunch of rocks.
So you want some giant boxes just strewn about, right?
It'd be nice. Yeah. I don't know. I think it might just be as simple as like, I want that overhead readout every once in a while. And like it goes an overhead camera when you die, but still it doesn't give you the viewpoint that I really want.
Yeah, and I think my favorite thing of this entire beta is just the crazy stuff that happens in Walker Assault mode. Like there's been videos and GIFs popping up all over the internet,
good.
like of like Darth Vader will be running at you, and you just see like an X-wing just kamikaze directly into him, and that's like the end of him. And then like Luke Skywalker running at you, and an AT-AT just steps right on him. And
I saw Mark
him.
Hamill actually tweeted that out. He tweeted out that GIF and said like, he said, "Yeah, I see the people behind Battlefront are doing real good work." It's just like Luke Skywalker getting squished by an AT-AT.
There's another one that I saw where
You think
like,
that was sarcastic?
No, I think he's just joking around.
where like Luke
He's a joker.
Skywalker's running and Luke Skywalker's running at a ATST, and he does like a front flip and just cuts it in half, and it's like
What?
insane. Yeah, like Cliff Bleszinski tweeted it out, and he's like, "Is this the kind of crazy stuff that happens in this game? If so, I'm all in."
Holy cow!
And yeah, it was like you just see Luke Skywalker like off in the distance, like jumping and running, because he can jump and run like super fast and super far.
What was this business in the movies?
I don't know, but like, and then you just see him
Return of the Jedi.
jump and like he does a front flip and like he just obliterates an ATST.
That's really
And
satisfying.
it's great.
Yeah, I mean, like he kind of jumped high in Return of the Jedi occasionally, but he wasn't sprinting across Hoth.
He kind of
He had
jumped
to go to
high.
Dagobah yet.
Jumped high vertically at the end of Empire Strikes Back when he fell down the thing.
That's true.
That's
And they
technically
jumped from
true.
the
also-
two in the desert,
Yeah, he
from
jumped
those things.
across the
could jump
Death
pretty
Star
high.
Canyon in the beginning. I mean, with the help of the rope and the swinging, but it was still kind of jumpy.
He's just kind of a lazy Jedi. Like he's a good Jedi, but he just doesn't. he
Reiner
doesn't go
made
all
a
the
funny
way.
joke.
Oh, Reiner made a funny?
Earlier this week where he's just talking about like, Force Awakens. Maybe this is implying. I don't know. This is all speculation. Maybe Force Awakens implies that there's going to be more Jedi and Force wielders this time around. And we just find out that Luke was just a joke, just totally incompetent. Just like, who is this guy?
But he was just like the only Jedi
he's just
alive at
he's
the
it. So
time.
it's like, whoa, okay, man. It's just like the fifth grader hanging out with the fourth graders, just like, oh man, like this guy, he knows what's up.
I saw him move a rock.
Yeah.
Other people bring down Star Destroyers with the Force, doing the whole Force Unleashed thing.
Starkiller did that in Force Unleashed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There we go. Cool. So positive impressions.
Yeah, I mean, there's some balancing stuff here and there, but
Would you rather play the Battlefront beta or more Splatoon?
that's completely different game.
pretty
Casual
much the
shooters.
same, man.
Casual shooters.
I mean, I enjoyed the Battlefront beta. I think I'd rather play the full Battlefront game than more Splatoon.
Okay. All right. That seems like
I should play more Splatoon.
You should.
everybody in the world should play more Splatoon. Yeah.
Those ads were like running all over the place, and just like, well, God, I should really pick that up.
Especially in
It's fun.
Japan. Like it's huge over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have all this merchandise and everything. I keep seeing like popping up all over Twitter, and I'm like, I wish they would release that here.
Yeah. Definitely.
Speaking of Japan,
Ooh.
I wanted to point something out real quick. Reminds
Yeah.
me of Sony. A while back, we interviewed Greg Miller from Kind of Funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and had an awesome conversation with him. And then the Kind of Funny guys on their new podcast we talked about called P.S. I Love You, their PlayStation
XOXO.
podcast. Yes. They had Shuhei Yoshida on from Sony to talk about just the PlayStation, all that stuff. And Shu gave a shout out to the Game Informer Show podcast from when we talked to Greg. And
Classic shootout.
yeah, and now we would love you guys to, politely maybe hit up Shuhei on Twitter. He's at YOSP, at YOSP, however you're supposed to pronounce that. Let him know you'd love to see him on the Game Informer Show. We'd love to talk to him.
It was surreal hearing him on Greg Miller's podcast talking about like listening to this podcast. Like,
was
he listened
such
to
a
Greg
treat.
Miller's interview. He was like, "Oh man, I would have tried so much harder if I would have."
Yeah, no kidding. Such a treat. Is like I like all these guys, and they're saying nice things about us. All right, well, we would love to talk to Shu. It'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
Seems
It'd be
like
a
a great
great
guy
guest.
too.
Yeah, he's super.
I've never
nice.
met him.
So hit him up on Twitter, please. We would love to pick that guy's brain.
I remember I was like, I ran like 10 minutes behind on a interview with him at TGS, and it was, Japan around TGS time is sweltering, and I was just drenched, and he could not have been more just totally unflappable about it. He's just totally cool with the whole thing.
Gave
and
you his own towel.
super genial about the entire thing, and yeah,
Blotted your
he
head with his tie.
blotted me up. But anyway, he's just such a nice guy, super
Yeah.
pro.
Yeah, we'd love to talk to him.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, quickly, we should hit on Rock Band 4.
Yes.
Let's get into this Rock Band 4 versus Guitar Hero. No, I'm just joking. We're not going to go back into that. But you've been playing a hell of a lot of it, like with more extended time. Has anything changed? Has your impression changed about this game?
I really like it. Probably not a big surprise there, but there are a bunch of technical things that are kind of preventing me from fully enjoying it.
Yeah.
So downloading your DLC, I mean, I think we kind of had the idea that it was going to be a huge hassle going in if you owned a lot of downloadable content from like last gen.
Right.
So you have to download all your songs. You go into the Rock Band music store in the game, or you can go into the marketplace of your console and download each song individually. So I have about 800 DLC songs. And
Hang on, let's do some math here, everybody.
it's a lot. It's a lot. Don't do the math. I will be sad for the rest of the day.
No
It's
one
insane.
watching should do the math.
I mean, they're about $2 per song on average, unless
Yeah,
you buy
but
a
Brian's
pack.
encouraged you not to do the math.
Don't pull out a calculator and do some quick.
I mean, he threw out the number 800 and then the number $2, but nobody do the math in
and
your heads
all the
right now.
information
Really
about the
complicated
pricing
There
still
are
exists
several
online,
packs. There are
but just
several
don't do the
packs
math.
that
Right.
were discounts. But yes.
Okay, but-
I've spent a lot of money on this franchise.
Is it available? Because on PS4, I still can't download my individual stuff. It still says unavailable for a lot of the stuff that I bought.
Were
It's driving me
they
insane.
like the free songs? Like a lot of the songs that like were promotions that like I remember if you bought Rock Band 3 or 2, you got 20 free songs.
Okay.
And then they like later on released those as like songs you could buy if you missed on the promotion.
Oh, do you think that's like
So-
the Rock Band Blitz bundle as well?
Yeah, the Rock Band
Is that
Blitz
what's going on
bundle
with
is
that?
not
Okay.
also like they sold those individually, but if you got them in like the export, that's counted as an export, not a DLC thing. So those I fully understand. Like we're waiting for exports on Rock Band 1, 2, Green Day, Rock Band, Blitz, Lego, all those things. Like
God,
we
Beatles
already
would be so nice, but
Beatles would be great, but we're totally never getting that.
I know.
And they say that they're working on Rock Band 3 exports. It's still kind of up in the air, but they said that the other exports are definitely coming at some point in the future. But the DLC, like, there's still a lot of songs that are giving me like, it's the entitlements aren't transferring over from last gen. So like I own the Ozzy Osbourne 8-pack, for example, and that like
pretty good.
It still keeps me like saying, hey, when I go to download the song, it doesn't pick up that I alrety own that song, and it's asking me to pay $2 more for it, which that's kind of not fun.
It's
and
crazy
then
train.
just let that sit there for a while.
It's crazy train, man.
So, and there's also like there's a few other instances of that. Like I have a list of like maybe 15 or 16 songs that I'm not able to download without paying $2 again. And then I
Are you going to do that?
No, I'm totally not going to do that. Even though like their song, like it's like the Doors pack that they released. Like I really like the Doors, so I want those songs, but I'm not going to like.
You just want your
rebuy them.
DLC to break on through, right?
Yeah,
to
to
the,
the
other side, to the other side of
next
the
gen
console
Yeah.
generation.
I went and bought the AFI pack. I think.
Oh,
I
yeah?
don't know why I didn't buy this because I didn't buy it back in the day because I didn't like Crash Love at the time. Their second most recent album, and now I've fallen in love with that album. It's like, oh, now I'm excited to go and buy all this stuff. So
I guess you could say you mismurdered that. Sorry,
I
I was
don't
trying
know.
to do it.
Sorry, I'm not
It
familiar.
didn't work out.
I'm not familiar with
It didn't work out. But yeah, then there's another instance where they released a new wave of DLC. They're doing the whole weekly thing again.
Yeah, it's exciting.
One of those songs I bought, and I was like, okay, I really like this band. It's The Pretty Reckless. It's a group fronted by Taylor Momsen, if you know who that is. She's an actress. And they're a really good rock group, and I bought Follow Me Down, which is one of their songs off their last album, and went home to play it, and Kristen, my girlfriend, was like, hey, it downloaded a song. I was like, oh yeah, that was the song. And she's like, it said it was Jane by Jefferson Starship. And I'm like, what?
Nice.
And
actually, I really want to sing that song now.
so it when you download that, it says like installing or like ready to install, and it has Follow Me Down, and then you click on it and you look in your queue and it's installing Jane by Jefferson Starship. So
it sounds like their wires are just completely crossed.
Yeah, so there's a lot of issues. I mean, and what they're like to give them like the benefit of the doubt, this is a completely ambitious, unprecedented thing that they're trying to do with bring like DLC cross-generational and bring it like that much content forward, but at the same time, like a lot of this should be working.
So Harmonix is a little bit on fire right now. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it seems like they have a whole ticket system going up. There's a thread on their like official forums, like, hey, here are the known issues. We're working on them. If you don't see your issue in this, log a ticket here. So like, there's a list of like, we know these DLC songs aren't working the right way, and
right.
So yeah,
All
and also
right,
I mean,
well,
Mad Catz also like there's been issues with like people getting their Rock Band legacy adapters. If you own Xbox One and you want to use your old system or your old instruments, you have to have this legacy adapter. It doesn't just work like it does with PS4,
Right?
Because it's not Bluetooth technology, so they have to have like the security chip transfer over. A lot of people are having a hard time getting those. It looks like they underestimated how many people would actually want those legacy adapters.
Sure. It's the GameCube adapter situation with Smash Bros. All over again.
Any update on like what happened with our guitar during that live stream when it just stopped working? Has that been a thing, or is that just a one-off thing?
I have not heard anybody say like that. I mean, from what I understand, like people are saying like, "Hey, my instrument's not working on this," but then Harmonix is like, "Yeah, we kind of said that wouldn't work from the start."
Okay.
Like I guess like they're
certain
looking
compatibility
for, like,
things.
Yeah, there's certain instruments that don't work, but like the vast majority of them do if you have a last gen instrument.
That was a nice weekly Rock Band 4 update.
I can't wait. We'll keep you updated as things. Each song individually gets slowly put
correct.
online
as we sing it in its
And then
completion.
you get a different song when you go to try it. We'll
right.
let you know what song you're actually getting when you go to buy songs.
I really am going to go home and buy Jane though tonight. Like after watching Without American Summer, like going through that TV show and then the movies, like God, I really want
let
to
me know if
sing
you get
that
the song that I want.
Okay, yeah, I will. We can trade. It's like Pokemon. It'll be
It would
great.
be great if you downloaded a song and it was Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley and like
Just Rick rolled.
you just accidentally rickrolled.
Well, let's rickroll right into the email section. What do you guys think?
Sounds awesome.
Here we go.
Welcome back to the Game Informer Show. We got some great emails from our listeners and viewers. If you have something you want us to read or a question to respond to, a manifesto, it's podcast@gameinformer.com. We send out a little thank you in the mail to the email of the week when we choose it.
It's a funny hat this week.
It's my grandmother's hat.
Does she know what's missing?
It's her
Andy
scalp.
writes in, hey guys, big fan of the show here. I have a quick question for you guys. With the holidays approaching, do you have any games that you like to play seasonally because it reminds you of the season or has apt seasonal themes? It's currently October, and I'm playing Costume Quest 2, which I've
the only example?
which I've intentionally put off to play closer to Halloween. I find it helps me get into the spirit. I also like replaying games that I remember getting on Christmas, like Gears of War, the most Christmassy game. Maybe I'm just a bit too nostalgic. Impossible. Thank you. I love what you guys do, Andy.
He loves what Andy does?
Yeah, I can kick it off. Metal Gear Solid is like a fall game for me. I remember getting it on the same trip that we went to go to pick up pumpkins to carve. Like I ended up grabbing Metal Gear in its completion, like that whole game. And so I always want to play it around fall. Besides that, like horror games, like whether I'm reviewing them, like, I was reviewing Soma or just playing them for fun again, like Halloween is an amazing time to pick up horror games.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned Metal Gear Solid because I was kind of mine too. Because I played it for the first time. The first time I ever played Metal Gear Solid, I was living in South Carolina, and it was snowing, which is rare in South Carolina. It happens like once every couple of years. So I always affiliate because it was snowing in the game because it takes place in Alaska.
Especially like the sniper wolf sequence.
Yeah, so like I just kind of associate that game with it like being really cold outside and snowing. And I remember I went out because it was like, even though I was older, it was like, since snow was so rare, I was like, I'm gonna go outside and make a snowman. And I made a one-armed snowman. I'm like, that's awesome.
That's awesome. And then you also like kept your dad busy for 6 hours by just making him follow your footsteps outside in the snow.
That's right.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Just attacked by wolves when he forgot his handkerchief. That was a devastating moment
you
in
were
the
good
Hilliard
with
family.
dogs.
Just eating diazepam and just like Skittles.
It's not really a fall thing, but maybe it just gets me in the mood. But nothing's more satisfying to me than playing a good RPG over the winter months. Maybe just because we live in Minnesota and it gets cold up
Stuck
here.
inside.
Yeah, it's good. Like I look forward to especially like the winter break just for like a good RPG window where it's like, things are a little more relaxed. Or even like a couple years ago, I really got into the Old Republic over the Christmas break, and it was such a good, satisfying moment. Like, let's just dive deep into an MMO over that gap.
I'm excited. I hope I go into winter break with like a decent, like not a ton of backlog games. I'm really hoping that I have like a clear window to like, I'll finally play Final Fantasy 9 or something like that.
Right. I'm finally gonna get around to that 1,000 Year Door playthrough that I've been trying to get going for a long time.
Yeah, I don't really have like a game that I go to. Like, I mean, I guess like horror games are great for this time of the year. I always kind of want to go back and play Resident Evil 5 for some reason.
Me too. I was actually just thinking about that this morning, that I want to replay that in co-op.
Yeah, well, maybe we can co-op it.
Maybe.
Yeah. So like Resident Evil 5, I never really liked Resident Evil 6 though. So
Maybe you can play with him and he can explain why it's a great game.
Luke writes in here. I like Resident Evil 6. Sorry, dear podcasters, especially Kim, if you're there. She's not.
No, she's just not on mic, but she's sitting here.
Before voice acting was standard, you could almost always change the playable characters' names from their default in RPGs, JRPGs. If you haven't watched last week's replay, which was the game. God, what was last week's replay? Please help me.
It was that game, the Sega Saturn
Deep
game.
Fear?
Deep Fear. It was Deep Fear. Watch the middle segment if you're into this question. The only time I actually changed the names of a character from default is in Final Fantasy IX when Garnet wanted to change her name to Dagger.
Yeah.
I just changed it back to Garnet because Dagger's a dumb name. Do you usually leave characters' names the same or change them, Luke?
I love that example of Final Fantasy because I always love doing that with like in Final Fantasy 7. When you could name Ren 13, I would name him Nanaki because that's like his real name that Bugenhagen says.
That's
so it says
nerdy.
So like during the whole sequence, it's like his name isn't really Nanaki, it's Nanaki. And then I'd laugh like a maniac. Say, I fooled you, Square.
I got you. I always changed Red's name to Ash in Pokemon because I like the cartoon.
Oh yeah,
show.
yeah. That's a pretty basic one.
Yeah.
I have like I don't know. Everybody has like their go-to fantasy names. Like mine are Sind, like Sind, and then Typhon
And Climax.
And Climax for my Animal Crossing characters. It's always Climax and Hell. That's the name of the town for Animal Crossing.
I think I made my name Kyle the first time I played Ocarina of Time, and like by the end of the game, I really disliked that my name was in there, and so from like then on, like I always keep the default names.
Yeah.
Plus,
Keep it
because also when people talk about a game online, especially now, like they'll talk about a specific character, and like I don't know, kind of I want that experience. I want the same experience that everyone's having, where the character has the same name in a weird
If
way.
you change everybody's name in Final Fantasy VIII and you didn't know who Zell was,
Yeah.
I would not
Yeah.
blame you, and it'd be just a stupid way to kind of get you confused in those conversations.
Like when I'm playing Pokemon, I won't rename a Pokemon that I don't already know the name
Right.
of well, because like, oh, I need to drill this name into my head. If
I
it's
wanna
some
know
new
it,
Pokemon
yeah.
and I don't know it, but if it's like, oh, it's some like from the original 151, then I'm going for a joke name totally.
I have never renamed a Pokemon. Like I've changed from Red to Ash, but for some reason I don't want it to be like Go Jonathan. It's like I want it to be like Go Pikachu.
I remember I
Mine are all named
renamed
Jonathan.
in the first Pokemon, my first Pokemon ever. I renamed it was Charmander, and I named him Charmy, but I named him Charmy in all caps, and so it was just totally didn't like link up with the rest of the game. I just
it's the
stared at
worst.
this all caps like I was yelling Charmy to myself.
Did you go get him like renamed?
No, you could do that, and
Yeah,
not too late.
there was a guy you
Yeah.
could
Go find your
I
save.
don't think I found that guy, man.
Also,
That guy, man.
I also you talk about fantasy names. I tend to like lean towards for like female characters. I lean towards Mina because I think it's a super cool name, like Mina Harker from Dracula.
Oh, okay.
And I made my favorite instance of it. One of them was like my hunter in Bloodborne was a lady named Mina. I'm like, it's just imagine if Mina Harker just got totally badass and took care of all this supernatural crap.
I remember I had a weird moment where I just made up this name in KOTOR. So my lady character was Malin Hawk. And then the name of the ship was the Ebon Hawk. Like, oh, this is bizarre. My last name's Hawk. But look at it. It's Hawk.
So I have a piggyback question off of that. When you play XCOM, do you customize your soldiers?
Yeah, I do. It's a lot of calories to burn, but I had the whole Pokemon run and I had like a scientist run.
Like I
nice.
renamed all my guys like after like the Gears of War characters for a second
what the
there.
hell are
and,
you
like,
doing?
Monster. I would do it if they proved themselves. I think I heard Firaxis talking about this. Like some developers would tend to not rename their rookies or take their helmets off until they'd proved themselves for a while.
I love that.
Just because, like, let's see, let's see if you're gonna make it or not. Before I get invested in you. All right, this next one is from Javish from West Palm Beach, Florida. Hello, guys. Do you have a friend that owns your favorite game of all time but has not finished it yet? If so, does it bother you? In my case, I have a friend that owns Red Dead Redemption but has not finished it. This bothers me a lot, actually. Can you relate? Love the show, especially when I am part of it. Javish. Let's extend this into not just your favorite game, but just like if there's that game that you love that like your friend would love and you just want to talk to them about it and they just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I remember it really bit me in the ass freshman year at college because I love Resident Evil 4 so much. And like my roommates were into games. And I was like, you guys need to play Resident Evil 4, but it needs to be very serious. Like, don't do it while drinking and joking around. Like, I want you to, like, everyone play it by yourselves. Everyone really focus on this game. And they never got around to it. And it drove me insane. Like, just start Resident Evil 4. What
So
are
wait,
you doing?
those friends still haven't played Resident Evil 4?
I don't think so.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, let's get some drinks. Get really jokey.
My sister and I have been on a campaign to try to get my brother to play the 2 Portal games.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't the last time he was here, but there was one time he came and I was like, we're staying up late and we're at least starting Portal. You have to at least like start Portal because like us 3, as a family, like we have our games that we really love. Like we're all huge Zelda fans, and then my sister and I are huge Portal fans, and we're like, come on, we want to get you in on this cool thing. Come on, so
I named my daughter after you.
yeah, come on. So that's mine.
It's never going to happen.
So my girlfriend is super stubborn when it comes to like me recommending her anything. Like we were talking before the podcast, she won't watch Louis on my recommendation. Like
What else don't you like about her?
So she's really, really stubborn.
I recommend you do the dishes or vacuum, please. I'm not trying to be sexist. I'm just trying to say like bad roommate
Jeez,
situations.
So, like, it took me a long time for me to like get her to play the Mass Effect trilogy, and now she like loves it. But like, I'm like, all right, you got to play Red Dead Redemption, which the example that Jarvis gave. Jarvis was the name. Javish, sorry. And then Jarvis. I was thinking of Avengers too much.
Everybody always is.
So, and then like Ocarina of Time is another one like I really want her to play, and like she's never played a Zelda game. And then also I'm just blanking, so that's it.
Yeah.
I think one for me that I thought about this for a long time, but a friend who just adores Zelda. Looping back to my friend Dave. Also, Dave, congratulations on
Buddy
getting
Dave.
engaged. He got engaged at
yeah, I heard.
Is this
the
your
Zelda Symphony. He met his girlfriend at the Zelda Symphony concert, and proposed to her there. I'm assuming it was during
Same
the fairies.
Yeah, 2 different occasions.
Fountains.
Oh, not the same concert.
No. Met and proposed to the whirlwind. But anyway, I wanted him to play Wind Waker to completion, and he just hasn't gotten around to finishing Wind Waker.
But he got. I saw him playing a lot of it.
He played
though.
a good chunk of it, but like he didn't finish Wind Waker. And I think that the Wind Waker is a pretty strong payoff.
So you're saying they can't get married until he finishes Wind Waker?
That's right. Dave,
Make
you
sure
can't
he
get
plays
married.
the HD version.
Yeah,
on
otherwise it
Wii
doesn't
U.
count. Not in the eyes
That's
of
your
God.
present to them is forcing him to finish Wind Waker
That's
until they
right.
can get married.
Best presents are forced, I think. Okay, so that was a solid one. Actually, Javish, I think that's email of the week.
Oh,
hey,
Lord.
thank
You
you.
did it. You get Tim's grandma's hat or scalp. Is that what we decided?
Scalp.
Hell, excuse me, Kyle. What are you talking about?
Rewind the tape, man.
What tape? You can't
She's
just make jokes like that.
strong,
We record this on
wise
tape, right?
woman
With her
Okay.
head intact. Jesus Christ.
Okay, Tim.
Here's a
I'm
quick
really
one.
sorry.
I'm
I
just
feel
going to
really
paraphrase.
terrible about
This is
now.
please shut up. This one's from Joshua S. I don't have a question, but just wanted to chime in about the length of the podcast, as was discussed in the last episode. Don't worry about it. Loves it.
Is that his? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Keep it up.
I appreciate that.
Seems like we got some. We were mentioned being like a little worried about like going a little long, but there was a lot of people that chimed in and said like, "Hey guys, just don't worry about the length of it. We like what you do." So
That's very sweet of
in the
him.
interest of time, the last question here. Preston from Arkansas. Hello, GI Steph. Steph. GI Stephanie. Just started listening to the podcast, and I have to commend you for the job you're doing. You're by far my favorite weekly podcast, and now I look forward to every episode. What got me into this podcast is Tim Turi's playthrough of Dark Souls, also Dan Tech's part of that.
Oh, wow.
I decided to give the Souls series another try, and I absolutely love it. However, my character is having a bad time navigating through Anor Londo. My question is there a particular level or area in a game that gives you a very hard time, even if the rest of the game hasn't been very tough? Wish you all the best, Preston from Arkansas. I can get it rolling.
yeah.
I love just sitting down and booting up Mega Man 2 and like, all right, I know the Robot Master order. I got this. I can breeze through like all of Mega Man 2 reliably and like all 8 Robot Masters in like 20 minutes. And then as soon as I hit Wily's Fortress, it's just kind of like, woof. It's a wall because like, you know, given the nature of like open-ended level select, you just play that one the least if you don't play it to completion every time. And it always bums me out. I always get hung up on that. There's the boss where you have to use like crash bombs, even just like the dragon part where you have to jump across the blocks as the dragon's chasing you. There's some really, really brutal parts that will just stall my progress.
It's funny you bring up Mega Man 2. That was the first thing that came to my mind because I don't know if there's a level that I've started more, and I don't think I've ever finished it more than the Woodman stage. But every once in a while, like I have it on my Wii and I have it on my phone. I just boot up Mega Man 2 because I want to hear the Woodman music, and I'll get through like half to 3/4 of that level and be like, oh, this is impossible, and then just not continue on with it. But I think of like going back to Yoshi's Island. I love Yoshi's Island, but there are those stupid maze levels that still drive me absolutely insane, and it goes on forever. There's one towards the end where it's like the long, dark, crazy maze.
I know what you're talking about.
Does Woolly World have anything annoying like that?
There's one kind of maze-ish level. One thing about Woolly World is if there's anything obnoxious that you don't like, it's just there for one level and it goes away.
Okay.
Which is like pretty much Nintendo's thing.
What if I
now.
don't like Yoshi?
I don't need to finish that sentence.
Great.
It's his woolly world. You're just living in it.
But that level you're referencing, like I had to draw a map. I remember.
Oh,
having
wow.
The notebook out for drawing a map.
Wow.
For that. I have one, a Mega Man X. I love Mega Man X. I think I've said it a couple times before in replay and stuff. On my resume to Game Informer, I wrote like on my skills list that I could beat Mega Man X in under like an hour and a half or something like that. But
They didn't even interview after that point.
that's
They just
right. They
hired.
just gave me the job. But there's a part in Launch Octopus's stage where you got to fight these like little mini bosses, and they kind of like will pull you in and push you out, and there's like little spike pits there, and I always struggle there. I've never found a good like rhythm to that fight. There's also another one I thought about just now in Jak and Daxter. There's one of those like, it's not really a platforming game, it's more of a mini game where you have to drive a vehicle over this like poisonous grass. You guys are kind of giving me weird looks. Like you
I don't remember that part. I've played all those games.
I always struggle with that part. Like every other part of the game, I enjoy and get through really quickly. But every time I've only replayed that game like twice or 3 times maybe. But every time I get to that part, I'm always like, all right, I got to get through this part so I can get to the fun part of the game again.
So those are the things that get me the most stuck. Like the parts that are kind of outside of the core mechanics of the game. Like Mario, like the swimming levels always get me.
Sure.
And like the ghost houses because it's
I hate 'em.
more of like a puzzle element than like actual just straight up platforming and reacting. And in like the original Gears of War, there was the Krill level where you're in that tank. And you have one guy driving and one guy shooting, and it's just so hard because you have to like make sure you're not like you have to watch all angles, and then there's also the. I mean, this isn't really outside the core mechanics, but that final boss fight where you're on that train.
The Ram.
That can be pretty brutal. Yeah, General Ram.
Yeah.
We've reached our Gears of War quota for this episode,
Quota?
Brian. Yeah, so we're gonna have to stop talking about it.
No, that's a good. I mean, like that General Ram level is like considered like what is it? One of the most like up there with like BioShock with like most disappointing boss battle finales, right?
Yeah,
I hate Gears of War so much.
I don't.
It's just we never talk about it.
yeah,
it's a funny
weird.
contrast.
It's come up 3 times in episodes. Like, oh,
But
wow, Gears of War.
I think any water level in a Sonic game will sometimes just be an absolute roadblock.
Big the Cat. That's a pretty big roadblock.
Yeah,
Big the
we don't
Cat.
want to talk about that era, but that's up there.
Sonic Adventure 1
As soon
too.
as you run into Nemesis and Resident Evil 3, it's like I have a hard time shutting off the part of my head where it's like, or my part of my brain where it's like I need to kill Nemesis because he might drop something valuable that you can only get from Nemesis, and then I inevitably get killed, and like the wind's taken out of my sails. Resident Evil 3 is like one of the harder ones for me. So
yeah.
but that's it. Javish got email of the week. Thank you for that. We'll send you a little thank you. If you have questions, if you have an email you want to send, it's podcast@gameinformer.com.
Cool. That sounds great, man. And be sure to stay tuned. And we're going to talk to the developer of Undertale a little bit about the success of that game and basically where that guy came from and kind of run down some of his favorite RPGs of all time.
It's going to be an awesome chat.
Yeah.
Quick side note.
Oh, God.
This previous email mentioned it. Please watch our Chronicles of Dark Souls that's running right now. Kyle and Reiner just finished up. Congratulations, your Shenmue playthrough.
We did it.
I wanted to take a quick break and see if there was anything else you guys wanted to throw a plug out for stuff on the website.
Yeah. I have some on Wednesday. A video went up that's about the founding of Hangar 13, which is the new studio that's making the new Mafia game. It's I consider it the big budget video feature of the month. It's kind of a little documentary about the history of that studio, which is always fun to do for a new studio like that. Just who the hell are these guys? Where do they come from? What's going on in those halls?
Where are they again? It's
they're in Novato, California, which is just north of the Bay.
Cool.
So learn a little bit about that studio. Check out that video.
So in the current issue, there is a big feature that I wrote just kind of looking back at the first 30 years of the Super Mario franchise. So that was something that, I talked to Tezuka, who we mentioned earlier, as well as a couple of the directors from more recent Mario games. And in the end of the article, there's a sidebar that kind of runs down our favorite Super Mario games. And if you go online this past weekend, I actually posted a more fleshed out version of that explaining like why these games are ranked the way they are.
Yeah, it's the Game Informer staff's like top 18?
Yeah, because there are
games?
18 core entries. If you don't count Super Mario Maker as a full-on Mario game.
Yeah, we ranked them.
Go
check that out.
That's what I was going to recommend.
Yeah,
Hey,
I like that list.
Thanks.
Although Galaxy wasn't number one, which was
that your number one?
I think I was probably the only one.
What's your number one, Hanson?
That's a good question. I'd probably go Galaxy. Yeah.
Mine's Mario World and Galaxy.
On Mario
second.
World.
Yeah.
Mario 3 is close second for me. And then
that's
probably 64 in Galaxy.
Okay, you're 64 versus Galaxy guy. That's cool. Well, anyway, stay tuned for our chat with Toby Fox.
There it is. And welcome back to the Game Informer Show. We're honored for this interview segment to be joined by newcomer Toby Fox. Thanks for joining us, man.
No problem.
What do you consider yourself? The sole developer, lead developer, creative director for Undertale? How do you describe your role?
That sounds pretty good. I'll take that.
Okay.
All the
All
above.
those things.
A bulk of the effort.
I would just say I'm the creator of Undertale. I did basically everything except for some of the art.
Okay.
A decent chunk of the art, I guess.
Do you think it's because you're a control freak, or what's the reasoning for that?
Oh, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of being a control freak and a little bit of I just wanted to be able to do everything by myself. I didn't want to have to rely on anybody else if I had to, so
how long did Undertale take you to produce then?
It took me 2.7 years to create the whole thing.
I was expecting a higher number.
Yeah, that's
Oh, really?
That is a hell of a lot of effort that went into that thing, man. It's amazing.
well, you hear about, what is it, like Dust an Elysian Tale? Was it
Right.
one that's like a 10-year cycle on there? And
Right.
Yeah.
So we're saying that 2.5 years of your life is like nothing. That's a blink of an eye, Toby. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I mean, Cave Story took like 5 years or something, so I pretty much have time for like another one of these in that span, I guess. I'll just crank out another one.
Oh, hell yeah. So we wanted to talk to you just about where you came from, some of the inspirations behind Undertale, kind of the overall production around this thing. I understand you don't want to go into specifics of Undertale itself because you don't want to demystify any of kind of the community following and theories and speculation around that thing, and that's totally understandable. But just starting out, where'd you come from? Where are you from, man? Let's get your whole story here.
I'm from the internet, pretty much.
Okay.
I guess I spent most of my life just hanging out on like an Earthbound forum and making terrible posts and like entering stuff in contests. And then I got into Homestuck, if you've ever heard of that.
I don't think so.
No.
What is that?
What's Homestuck?
Oh, wait. Okay. You guys don't know what Homestuck is? This
No.
is amazing.
Please tell.
Okay, so Homestuck is basically this multimedia webcomic by this guy named Andrew Hussey that it started as sort of like this choose your own adventure single panel comic, and then it morphed into like this ridiculous, like just massive thing. It's really hard to describe, but it was extremely popular at one point with like people that go to anime conventions, and people were they're all dressing up as like these characters that are from this comic and not even from an anime. It was really weird.
Oh,
Anyway,
bizarre.
I did the music for that, and that's what most people know me from. Not all the music, but some of it. This is a webcomic, and it had an entire team of musicians. Let's put it that way.
You don't hear about that a lot.
Wait, so how does that work? Is it just hey, hit play on this SoundCloud thing below the panel, or is it like motion graphics, or how does this work?
It's flash animations.
Okay.
Like there's like a bunch of like static pages. Some of them are animated GIFs. Don't want to pronounce that.
You don't want to get that on the record.
Don't want to demystify GIFs. I
Yeah,
understand.
don't want to demystify the pronunciation of the word GIF, guys. You guys can make your own theories to come up with this. There's enough information in the game.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
yeah, some pages had flash animations, and Andrew, the guy who created it, decided that he wanted music to go along with those, so I started posting fan music on the forum, and he was like, hey, this guy's posting bad piano covers. I should put him on the music team. And so that happened, and then I made a bunch of songs for it. One of the songs in Homestuck is actually featured in Undertale's soundtrack, actually.
Oh, do you know which one that is?
I know. Do you guys know?
I'm assuming
good
it has
question.
to maybe do with the piano itself in Undertale, but I don't know. I don't want to reveal my lack of knowledge about that sort of super inside thing either, I guess. I don't know. How much of the soundtrack to Undertale are you responsible for?
100%.
That was all you?
That's nice work, Toby.
Toby, congratulations on that. That is a feat. That is honestly one of my favorite soundtracks I've listened to for a long time, and I have been listening to it every day since I beat the game. So,
Oh, thanks.
that feels like, as far as like the amount of time you put in everything. Like, what's your music background? Are you able to talk about like, were you professionally taught, or did you kind of teach yourself some things?
Yes, I am self-taught mostly.
Right.
I took piano lessons in second grade until third grade, and then after that, it was just kind of whatever. I played trumpet in middle school and high school, and I just picked up piano again sometime in high school, and I was like, hey, I want to learn to play Chrono Trigger songs on the piano. So I started teaching myself how to do that, and eventually it turned into making my own music.
And now you have like the ultimate badge of honor. I'd imagine what's the ultimate badge of honor for a composer for a game to get like the great soundtrack tag on Steam. So
Oh,
congratulations.
seriously? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that's one of the key tags for Undertale, man. It's like, hey, great soundtrack. So it is an amazing soundtrack. We recommend you play the game, but if you don't want to do that, at least go out there and find that soundtrack to Undertale and listen to a few tracks because it's amazing. Can we dive into like just writing like the battle theme in particular? It's so unbelievably perfect and catchy. It's been stuck in my head ever since I started playing the game. Was that a lot of iterations of just like, well, what are the mainstays for a good RPG battle theme? Like, what are the things that you think you needed?
No, what's amazing is that for most of the things in the game, there was basically no iteration. I just did it and it worked. There were only a few songs where I like really struggled with them. The battle theme, it just came to me in my head, and then I just arranged it, and it sounded fine.
Had you written a lot of, kind of tributes to classic JRPG battle themes in the past, just, for fun that weren't in a game, and so you're just familiar with this style of song?
Yeah, I've played a bunch of, I've played like basically every Super Nintendo RPG, so they've just kind of formed this cocktail in my head that I can just draw from. whenever I want to. So that probably helped. In terms of practice, I do like to mess around with like sound fonts and try to make songs that sound like they're from games I like. So I had a little bit of practice, but I hadn't made too many JRPG battle themes before.
Do you have any other music out there if people want to hear stuff that's not in Undertale and are interested in hearing more from you?
Most of it is from Homestuck.
Okay.
You can try to find my music on those albums. It's kind of spread out all over the place and not super well attributed, but I don't know if I actually recommend that much because it's kind of old at this point.
Okay.
Undertale is pretty much the only recent thing that's I'm really proud of putting out there, so I just recommend listening to Undertale and pretending that there's more.
Its soundtrack is so good. Would you ever consider being contracted out for another project and just writing music for other games going into the future?
I actually have been contracted to write music for the Homestuck video game, which is happening. So that's happening. I guess maybe I could do another soundtrack if there was a game that I really wanted to do music for. Not sure though.
Okay. So, I mean, outside of the music realm, how did you get into game development?
Well, when me and my brothers were 10 years old, we downloaded RPG Maker 2000 off the internet, and we just started making dumb stuff with it using Don Miguel's weird Russian translated version or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to go into that, but basically, we messed around with this RPG creation engine. Then when I was older, like 1 year older, I started using Game Maker and trying to do stuff with that. This is really the only actual game I've made that isn't like either a bad ROM hack or a joke RPG game.
It seems insane. You do realize that Undertale is a really, really great thing that you made, right?
Yeah, it seems okay.
Nope. Nope. It's better than that. You understand that it's taking the RPG world by storm right now.
That's just pretty funny for me to think about, I guess.
So, I mean, you must be wildly proud of it, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
God damn it, Toby. Just say you like your game.
I do like my game. I love my game.
All right, great. It's an amazing
I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, I pretty much did the best thing ever.
But for your first real game, there's an insane amount of work that was poured into this. Were you confident all the way through that it was going to pay off in a big way?
I did not know this many people would like it as universally as it's been acclaimed. Like, I always knew that people that were like me would like it because it's funny and weird, but I didn't know it would be like this where a lot of people like it, I guess.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. Like, video games and humor for, I don't know, since the beginning of video games have been this weird thing where like not a lot of times do video games actually nail their humor throughout. So it's tricky because like you have such your own personal stamp on Undertale, and to find that it's resonated with so many people. Do you think it's just like, from talking with you, it sounds like you have years of experience just perusing the internet in its entirety. Do you feel like most of the humor in Undertale comes from just internet humor that you've that's just kind of snowballed over the years?
It's hard for me to say because I don't really think about where my inspirations are coming from when I do these things. I'm sure that like it's basically a combination of everything I've ever experienced and read, like all these dumb internet Twitter jokes. Those definitely have an influence, but also just messing around, joking with my brothers, and like watching like, I don't know, Mr. Bean or whatever on TV. Like literally everything just transforms who you are and just causes you to do what you do. So
I was hoping, when I played Undertale, I singled out Mr. Bean as being a core influence. I love Mr. Bean as well.
How did you map out the scope of Undertale? Was it exactly the size ultimately that you produced? Did you have in mind a certain number of areas that you wanted to tackle? I mean, I guess the idea is taking on the JRPG genre. People imagine some gigantic effort, but Undertale is a pretty scaled in, great, small, insular world that you can really dive into. So how did you figure out that balance?
Well, the thing is, the thing that I learned from doing all these crappy RPG games is like whenever anybody gets this like RPG program for the first time, they're all like, I'm going to make a 60-hour-long Final Fantasy game. Right. And 0 people have ever done that. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to make an actual game that I can finish, and it's going to be like 2 hours long. originally I predicted Undertale was only going to be like 2 hours long, and I thought every single area was going to be as long as the first one, which is to say like 15 minutes long. The game actually was like 3 times longer than I anticipated in the end.
Interesting.
Yeah, going into your first full game project and being super realistic about the scope of the thing seems like maybe one of the more important things that you could have gone into this armed with. It feels like so many people like tend to bite off more than they can chew, especially if you look at Kickstarters and things like that, where people just can't manage how big they want this thing to be with the amount of time and resources they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And actually, I mean, I did my Kickstarter and I said it would be out a year ago, and then it only came out like a month ago. So I'm included in that group of people that I guess underestimated how long it would take, even though I thought my scope is really realistic.
Yeah.
Getting back to, you mentioned playing a ton of, like, playing pretty much every Super Nintendo JRPG. Can you pinpoint like the JRPG, like the first one that really got you hooked on the genre?
It was probably whatever the first one I ever played was, but I definitely think Earthbound was the biggest influence on me as an RPG game.
So you had some under your belt at that point, but Earthbound still rocked you?
Yeah, I think Earthbound was one of the games that taught me how to read, along with Link's Awakening.
Oh,
so
wow.
It has a special place in my heart, along with me being part of that community for so long.
I take it you then went back and played the entire Mother series?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like, I played Earthbound 0 on an emulator when I was, like, 8 or 9 or something.
Is Earthbound...
And then I was, like, waiting for Mother 3 ever since, and when it finally came out, I was like, I've been waiting my whole life for this.
So, as somebody... Like, Tim and I both played Earthbound, we haven't played anything else on the Mother series. Is there one that really stands above the rest as the best?
Oh, you mean in Earthbound, or
in the Mother series in general? Yeah.
I think they all have their own merits. Earthbound is my personal favorite, but I think Mother 3 does some different things that are worth considering. And Earthbound Zero's gameplay is really bad, but it has a very strange atmosphere that isn't in the other 2 games.
What's it like?
Have you guys not played Earthbound Zero?
No.
Oh, it's not Earthbound Zero, it's Earthbound Beginnings. You guys are going to have to like put a censor bar beep over that so Nintendo doesn't sue you.
You're fine.
Anyway, it's really hard to explain Mother's atmosphere, but it just has this weird sort of like, there's not very much in the game. Like, you go through these really big expanses, and then you reach a town with all these people saying this weird stuff, so it just has this unsettling sort of atmosphere that is only present in Nintendo games, like sort of like the original Metroid. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
It just has this weird ambient mystery feeling to it. And there's this one point in the game where you get to this place called Magicant or something, which is this world of dreams, which is present in Earthbound, but it's different in the first game.
Okay.
And it's just like all these people in this town that you just see. They're these little dot people, and they're just talking about how glad they are to have you in their mysterious dream world and how they wish that you never leave and stuff like that. It has a very strange feeling to it that hasn't been in another RPG game that I've played.
Well, it's interesting. It kind of reminds me a bit, and you mentioned already, of Link's Awakening. It seems like you're a fan of those games that have that super, somewhat surreal environment to the entire experience.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you play many games outside of the RPG genre?
I play whatever comes my way, I guess. The game that I've played most in my entire life is actually Super Smash Bros. Melee, so I'm up for anything.
I was going to ask if you were a Ness or a Lucas guy, considering it probably had to be one or the other.
Oh, in Smash Bros?
Yeah.
I just play as Captain Falcon. He's
Fair
the
enough.
best.
I don't remember encountering him in Earthbound, but I mean...
He's the best.
Yeah.
Did you get into Smash 4 then?
Oh, yeah. I only have the 3DS version. I don't have a Wii U, and I don't think I'm planning on getting one because that's like the only game I want for it. So
yeah, I mean, you could play Earthbound Beginnings on the big screen. I guess that'd kind of be novel.
Yeah.
If you're
I don't know if I actually want to play Mother again. It's kind of a grind fest.
Okay.
I'd rather just have like fast forward buttons.
So, I mean, somebody who's played so many JRPGs and then making one of your own, what were some of the tropes of the JRPG genre that you really wanted to get away from? What were some of the things kind of bringing it down that you wanted to shed?
Well, one of them was grinding for sure. I didn't want grinding to be necessary at any point. I wanted people to be able to do it if they wanted to, but because I know some of my friends express that they enjoy grinding for some reason, but I really don't, so I wanted to make that as optional as possible. I also wanted to not have any fetch quests whatsoever, because that just introduces backtracking that I don't really like. And I also... Okay, well, there's another one. I need to think of it.
Sure.
No fetch quests. I think that's basically the two big ones. No grinding, no fetch quests.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing going through Undertale is I was always worried about, like, is this going to get really tough? Like, I'm making really good progress, but am I just going to get stomped by a fight coming up? Do I need to go back and fight more and try and grind and really worry about, like, my items and all this? But I feel like it strikes a really nice balance of there's a little bit that you have to deal with, but it's never overwhelming.
Yeah, I think something that I really, enjoy about that type of design is that there's just a lot of games, especially, JRPGs, depending on the quality of it, just doesn't feel like it's respectful of your time. And just not inflating things artificially is really nice. And just to get sort of the JRPG, well, part of the JRPG essence, but in a sort of truncated format is like, it was a nice reminder of why I like these kinds of games. And, I didn't have that syndrome where it's like, oh, I started Final Fantasy V. I started Final Fantasy V for the 5th time or whatever, and just petered off after, the amount of time that it would have taken me to beat Undertale,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never beaten Final Fantasy V. It never manages to capture my interest for that long, even though I've tried like 4 times.
It seems like you pretty much have to be interested in the job system, or it doesn't really carry through to the rest of the way. Like that's like pretty much the core of it, I guess. Yeah,
I mean, I can relate to like the length thing because that was another thing. I wanted it to be short and to get to the point because I beat Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah.
That was like 80 hours of my life that just disappeared listening to like a bunch of like bishy dudes yelling anime screams.
It's Ryan time.
And I was like, why did I do this? Why didn't I just watch like a video of all the cutscenes on YouTube? What's wrong with me? And then I decided, I actually played this after I started Undertale, so I can't say then I decided, but I double decided that Undertale would be short because you have like, you can go to the theater, you can watch a movie, it's like 2 hours long and it can like emotionally move you and feel complete. So why does an RPG need to be 50 hours long? And it's okay if some people like that. It's okay, but for me, I'd rather just get to the point.
It's nice to have, I think there's a world where, there can be shorter games like this and longer games too. I mean, it'd be nice if you could have an experience like that and know that it wouldn't be 60 hours or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So playing Undertale, since I'm not the biggest Earthbound fan, not that I don't like it, but I'm not that passionate about it, but I do love the Mario RPG series. So when I started Undertale, it's like, all right, this is going to be what pulls me through this, is it feels like there's so many shades and a sense of love and kind of clear inspiration from that as well. So I take it you're a fan?
Yes, I love Super Mario RPG. It's really good. And I really like Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga as well. That had one of my... that has had one of my favorite RPG battle systems ever, where it just really feels like you're involved in it, and I wanted to do something that was equally engaging, I guess.
Yeah, and then Undertale really takes it to the next degree. But do you like the Paper Mario series as well, then?
I like the GameCube one. The GameCube one is good. I like the aesthetic of the N64 one, but it's kind of too slow and boring for me.
Huh.
So that's my opinion.
I think Thousand Year Door, for me personally, ended up being the highlight out of like Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, and Super Paper Mario. I have not played Sticker Star yet, but I'm super excited for Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which is like the culmination of both of those series together. It's amazing.
Yeah, I like the idea of the two silent protagonists standing side by side, not really interacting in any way, and just seeing how the hell that goes. Crazy. So are there other big RPGs that were inspirations for you? You think people should check out if they love the style of Undertale?
RPGs like Undertale. I don't know. Just play Undertale another time, I guess. I should probably have an answer, but I don't.
No,
Sorry.
That's totally fine. What's interesting to me about Undertale is we were talking on the podcast weeks ago about how there really wasn't an indie RPG that had broken through to that next level yet, and we feel like Undertale is that experience. Why do you think that kind of the indie RPG genre isn't more fully formed as, say, like the indie platformer genre or anything like that?
I don't know. I think there are indie RPGs out there. Like, Lisa came out. I haven't played it, but that exists, and people were talking about how good that one is. So
All
that
right.
game exists, and people were crazy about Off last year. If you heard of that one,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
so indie RPGs are definitely around. They exist.
They're out there. You
all
just
I
have to
have to say, I
look.
guess.
I guess that's what it is. I feel like there hasn't been one until Undertale where it's like you need to play this. Like we talked about, like the Zeboid Games stuff, where it's like, yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, Cthulhu Saves the World and stuff like that.
Yeah. But it seems like you really made a breakthrough. Do you feel like you're in the middle of a hurricane of success here? What does it feel like to be you right now, Toby Fox?
I feel pretty cool, I guess.
You earned that.
My opinion.
You earned that. Any interest at all in, ever exploring bringing it to anything besides PC?
I might. Yeah, I might do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All
I
right.
think
That's my. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say right now.
Okay.
It's possible. I'll talk to some people and figure some stuff out.
I think
It'd be
people
great if I could put it on a Nintendo platform, but I can't do that because Game Maker doesn't support Nintendo, and the only other option is to like reprogram the entire game, and I don't want to do that.
Sounds like a lot
Oh
of work.
man! But I love like you have that Nintendo love inside of you, and you want to play, like see it up and running on a Nintendo console. That has to be really frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. I want to put it on a Super Nintendo.
That'd be
Would
awesome.
So cool. Are you big on feedback? Do you read the forums, see what people are saying about Undertale?
Right when Undertale came out, I was like just name searching Undertale on Twitter, just like trying to see what everybody was saying, and also like contacting every person that was having trouble running it. And then as the days have gone on, like I've stopped like name searching on like every platform, and just now I'm to the point where I don't read anything except for my email.
Okay.
Because I mean, I love the feedback, but it's like kind of you get enough of it, and then you're like, all right, I get it.
It could become all-consuming after a while. You have to strike that balance.
Yeah, it can kind of like just destroy you.
Well, and 10 positive comments sometimes won't off balance one negative one too. So it's just hard to. We're familiar with a little bit of that.
Oh, I heard you're really bad at playing Dark Souls, Tim. The internet really.
I
told
heard
me a
you're
lot
really
about that.
negative on this podcast, Ben.
Damn it! Don't say that. Oh, my kryptonite. I'm sorry. Hey, Toby. Weird question. Do you mind saying how old you are? I'm really curious.
Yes.
You do mind?
He does minds. Yeah.
No, you got to guess. I'll tell you after you guess.
Oh, this
Okay.
is great. I'm gonna go with 23.
Oh, you are so close.
Okay, Tim?
I just
Hey, whoop.
turned 24 a month ago.
Oh, I knew it. I
Oh,
could
wait,
hear
and by
it.
a month ago, I mean 3 days ago.
Oh,
Sorry.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday! You made Undertale.
Yeah.
Life well done, man.
Yeah.
So, are you interested in making more in the RPG genre? Do you think you want to start expanding a little bit? Do you feel like you got a rhythm down in the creation of Undertale and you can crank out another game on a quicker schedule?
I don't know if it would be faster, but I would love to make another game. Probably with the knowledge that it won't be as successful as Undertale, but if I like it, it's good enough for me.
Yeah. Would you want that to be a clean break from Undertale?
What does that mean?
I don't know. Not a sequel?
I have no idea. I haven't really thought about it.
All right. Are you doing well with the success of Undertale? Is it a shock? Are the Steam sales doing well for you?
Yeah, it all seems okay. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Man. Cool. Was there anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to talk about? Melee strategies or anything?
Not that I can think of, really, unless you guys have anything else you want to ask. I'm willing to talk about it, but I'm good.
I think I'm good. Tim, you good?
Yeah. It was. What's your what song on the soundtrack would you say like you poured the most energy into? Like you really had to like crank on it and were really happy with how it turned out?
It'd probably have to be. Okay, well, I like all the songs equally, but it would probably have to be Hopes and Dreams.
Okay.
I like that one.
Awesome.
And I put a lot of effort into that one.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Oh, and also Undertale and Hopes and Dreams. Those two were the ones that I tried the most on. Undertale was actually one of the only songs in the game that actually went through a bunch of different iterations. Like, I had like 3 different versions of the song for it. I finally got a good one.
It's also, is it the longest song on the soundtrack too?
Yeah,
It is?
It's really long.
Yeah, I saw you retweeted somebody who orchestrated, was it the Papyrus Fight theme?
Yeah, I think that's his theme, isn't it? It's basically orchestrated version of, was it Symphony of Bones or something? Was the name of the SoundCloud?
It sounded really fantastic. Must be a thrill for you to hear people rework your music like that.
Yeah, it was thrilling, and it was that was actually my friend Alex, who is also from the Homestuck music team, so it wasn't entirely unexpected.
Okay.
But it
Little
was also
inside
awesome to
word
hear.
Also, I could go for a million remixes of Megalovania if you could just email those to me directly.
Hey, well, you're in luck because that's the song that was also in Homestuck.
Hey,
Oh, is
there
it?
we go.
All right, there's another version of that floating out there.
Hot
okay.
damn.
Yeah, it's a little different, and I made it like years ago, but it also
Okay.
exists. And then there's another version of it from another thing I made earlier.
I'm gonna go find these things.
Hunt them down.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, Toby Fox, on behalf of all of Game Informer, I guess I should say thank you for making Undertale.
Yeah, what a treat.
Dan Tack, the reviewer, especially really, really, really loves that game. So
Wanted to extend his thanks and congrats.
yeah.
Well, you're welcome, and thanks for having me on here. It was fun.
Yeah, thank
Absolutely,
you.
man. You can come back anytime when you're ready to talk about your next project. I think the entire internet will be ready to hear about it.
Yeah,
All right, I'll just call you guys up in the middle of the night, have a podcast at like 2 a.m.
we'll be ready.
Who the hell is Toby Fox? All right, cool. No, thank you so much, Toby. Really appreciate your time, man.
All right,
All right, see ya. And
See ya.
thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Game Informer Show. Be sure to tune in next week when we'll have a new episode waiting for you.
Thanks.
Bye.